but you're not moving gold around the world the way you can move Bitcoin.
Why has Bitcoin been so volatile? Is it because of the leverage that's involved?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's the leverage, Becky, but I also think it's whale selling over 100,000. I mean, they've hit it pretty hard. And I don't think you fully have gotten the adoption curve going from the institutions. You think about it now, since BlackRock started that ETF, there's legions of people out there selling the idea of Bitcoin as a piece of your overall portfolio. Is it a 1%, 2%, 3% piece? It's way more for somebody like me, but I'm just saying that that selling cycle is taking longer. And frankly, older people, if you look at the demographics, older people have money. And the older people are like, I'm going to buy gold as a potential hedge as opposed to Bitcoin. But just imagine the 35 or 40-year-old 10 years from now, what are they going to be buying? It's the same statement I would have made to you back in 2000 related to tech. You know, the 36-year-old that was getting buried in tech in the 2000 dot-com bubble, if he stayed in tech, he had the best 25 years as an investment class. And I think Bitcoin, we'll be looking at Bitcoin 10 years from now, scratching our heads saying, yeah, it did what we thought, at least the Bitcoiners thought. It got to some level of parity relative to gold. It won't get there right away. Still, a lot of people don't like it. You know, I don't know. You know, maybe it is a cockroach. But let me tell you something about cockroaches. Okay, cockroaches are going to survive us.
Yeah, no matter what.
So in a weird way, the metaphor of a cockroach may be a good thing.
Ants, there's never just one ant. Cockroach, like I said, it could be lost or something. Meanwhile,
you haven't lived in the city in a long time. That's
that's right. I haven't.
You don't have a lot of cockroaches.
You don't own a restaurant.
With the new mayor, I'm moving back because I can't wait to. No. All right, thank you, Anthony. We were talking about our birthdays and age and everything because
Order submitted.
I don't. It's a 70. I'm not sure I want to go here. I'm not sure I want to go here. I was going to say you would have been the youngest. You would have been the youngest person at the No Kings rally. I would have been the youngest person at the No Kings. So I know you didn't go because I would have spotted you because you would have had. You didn't have gray hair.
Is that a compliment, Ben?
That's a compliment. So you didn't go?
No, I didn't go.
Because you would have been the youngest.
You did have crowns on your ring, though.
And we got some look at this ridiculous court jet. Did you bring him?
I didn't bring him, Joe, but he looks like a Met fan to me. So I don't know.
He's wearing orange.
Yes, he's wearing orange. Orange man bad. All right.
I was thinking crypto.
You're missing it, Andrew.
Andrew, congratulations.
We got to go. By the way,
I read the book. It's awesome, Andrew. Congratulations.
Thank you, Anthony, so very much. And by the way, since we're talking birthdays, it's my father's birthday today, so I want to wish him a very happy birthday this morning. Coming up, how Americans feel about their health care. Steve Weissman is going to bring us more from the CNBC All-America Economic Survey next. And then later this hour, Senator Bill Cassidy on the shutdown and so much more. Squawk Box returning after this.
Another hole?
It's all going to come together. I'm your man.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future.
Are you really a licensed electrician?
Trust me. Not again.
Especially when it comes to your finances.
Do you have a question?
Are you a certified financial planner?
Yes, I'm a CFP professional.
CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
I know how to make slick-looking goggles/glasses, but I have no idea how to make slick-looking social media stuff.
But GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create social content out of thin air, like this one.
Walton Goggins goggle glasses are great gifts for all guys and gals.
Effective, healthy blood pressure support takes more than innovation. It takes vision. At Human, our plant-based supplements are scientifically formulated to support the center of your health. And at the center of Superbeats Heart Chews, healthy blood pressure support from clinically studied grapeseed extract, sustainably sourced from southern France, with delicious pomegranate berry flavor, supporting your blood pressure and heart health, and all the moments your heart beats for. Get a free month supply plus free shipping on all bundles at livehuman.com.
Hi, I'm Cody. I wear a lot of different hats. Today I'm a firefighter, I'm also a police officer, and at the end of the day, I'm a Tractor Supply team member.
Tractor Supply's Hometown Heroes program honors all who serve, and that makes me really proud.
When veterans come in, it's thank you for your service. I appreciate everything you did.
From all of us out here to all our hometown heroes, for your service, for your patriotism, thank you.
It starts simply. A first meeting, a thoughtful question, a quiet moment of trust. From there, it grows into shared goals, honest conversations, and a plan shaped around your life's ambitions. Because the connection between you and your financial advisor is everything. And by investing in it, Raymond James has built a firm where things that start simply have boundless potential.
Beautiful shot of the Capitol this morning. Of course, nobody's in that Capitol right now, though actually some senators are still there. The CNBC All-America Economic Survey asking how the public feels about health care. And this morning, senior economics reporter Steve Leisman joins us with the latest on that. Steve.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. Yeah, a new area for us to explore here given the shutdown. Well, 62% of the public say they are satisfied with their ability to obtain quality health care, including majorities of those who have private and government health insurance. But Medicare recipients are far and away the most satisfied. 81% of seniors and 78% of Medicare recipients say they are very or somewhat satisfied with their access to quality health care. That compares with 60% of those on private insurance, 55% for working class Americans, and just 46% for women aged 18 to 49. 1/3 of the sample of 1,000 Americans we surveyed nationwide report that they or a family member put off health care because they could not afford it. That includes 59% of women in that 18 to 49 age group, compared with 22% for women 50 and over. It's 34% for Democrats and even 25% for Republicans. And there's a big gap. 42% of the working class say they've skipped a medical treatment. That compares with just 15% for the wealthy. Democrats lead Republicans 45 to 27 on which party would do a better job reducing health care costs. 8% think both parties are the same, 19% saying neither. But Republicans hold a 39 to 24% advantage on which party is best to control overall government spending. 7% say both parties are fine, and the 29% say neither is any good. So when it comes down to one party favored on health care, the other on spending, but what does the public think the government ought to do with health care? 57% of the public say it's the responsibility of the government to provide health insurance to all Americans, with 41% saying it is not. The majority includes 90% of Democrats, 58% of independents, and 24% of Republicans. So the public looks at Democrats on health care, Republicans on spending. Both sides know their strong political suit, and that brings us to day 20 of the shutdown. Andrew?
I don't know if you were listening to the Kevin McCarthy bit about the shutdown, but he thinks that there is not an inflection point that could force the issue. And so I'm curious how you think, I mean, if this goes on, you name how long you think it goes on, how does that change this dynamic?
Well, I'm just going to go from the data here. The Democrats have a definite advantage on this issue. What's really interesting to me is that the big change of the last several years politically is that the Republicans now are getting much more support from the working class, from less wealthy Americans. That's a big deal. And they have a certain responsibility there. So it's very interesting to think about how the Republicans are thinking about their responsibility to those voters. The idea that some dissatisfaction is out there on health care, pretty widespread relatively among Republican voters and certainly among independents. So it's something for them to think about. Democrats hold that advantage. But then again, when it comes to spending, well, one of the things that Republicans were put in office for was to control spending. And so that's going to be a big deal. I guess what I'm saying here, Andrew, is the data backs up McCarthy's idea here that there's no clear inflection point if each side plays to their strong suit politically.
Steve, thank you. Fascinating stuff. Appreciate it. Becky?
Andrew, thanks. When we come back, two private equity giants are set to strike a multi-billion-dollar deal for a medical device maker. We have that story just ahead. And as we head to a break, check out some of the early Dow winners and losers. Apple is leading the charge this morning. It's up by about 1.4%, followed closely by Boeing. Squawk Box, we'll be right back.
Connected world is crazy. Infrastructure without any structure. Hackers. Vendors on vendors on vendors. Workers everywhere. But Cloudflare takes care of the crazy, protecting workers, consolidating vendors, delivering AI apps, all on an intelligent global network that fights the crazy, so you can stay calm.
Did you know that your life insurance policy is an asset that you can sell? Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. I'm the CEO of Abacus Life, and for almost 20 years, we've been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. In fact, you can use the free policy value calculator at abacuspays.com, and in just seconds, you can learn what your policy might be worth. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
I got something coming up this fall. Get ready to think fast and eat faster at Raising Cane's. With hand-battered and cooked-to-order chicken fingers. So grab a box combo and catch.
My name's Chad Powers.
To throw the best tailgates in Texas, you need the highest quality beef and HEB certified meat cutters like me.
And me. We hand cut and grind fresh beef 7 days a week.
High quality beef and custom cuts. No one does tailgating like HEB.
And if I wear a sweater, I'm not going to be able to see. Oh, hey, there you are. Are you ready to go watch some more me? No, not this time. I'm wide awake. I'm not going to fall.
Let's take one more look at the futures this morning. Dow futures up by 65 points. NASDAQ up by close to 100. You've got the S&P futures up by about 18. Dom Chu has been taking a look at this morning's pre-market movers, and he joins us with more. Good morning, Dom.
Good morning, Becky, Andrew, Joe. We're going to start things off with shares of Cooper Companies. This is now popping right now, up about 5% after a Wall Street Journal report that activist investor Jana Partners has taken a stake in the medical device maker. Now, the Journal is reporting that Jana wants to have Cooper merge its contact lens business with rival Bausch & Lomb. Cooper Companies shares have struggled recently, down about 30% over the course of the past year, so keep an eye on Cooper Companies. Meanwhile, more medical device and technology news. Hologic shares right now are up about 4.5% after a Bloomberg report on Friday that Blackstone and TPG, private equity giants, are nearing a deal to buy the company for more than $17 billion or more than $75 per share. That's according to people familiar with the matter. Blackstone declined to comment to CNBC on the report. We have further reached out to Hologic and TPG as well. We have not yet heard back from them, but we will update you with anything that they say on the matter. So Hologic shares up 4.5%. And rounding things out with shares of Darden Restaurants right now up by about 1% this morning after an upgrade to buy from neutral over at Goldman Sachs. Analysts there are bullish on the casual full-service dining industry compared to fast food and fast casual restaurants. They say that Darden, the parent company of Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, and others, is well positioned for that industry shift because of its scale. So keep an eye on Darden, up 1%. Now, for more on those and other top analyst calls of the day, just head over to cnbc.com/pro, where subscribers get all the access to detail and context Becky, around those big notable upgrades and downgrades. I'll send things back over to you guys.
Tom, thank you.
You're very
I think
welcome.
Joe wanted to say good morning, too.
No, she's nudging me. I love you. I love you, Dome.
I love you, Joe, Becky, and Andrew. I love all three of you guys.
No, I said Dome because it's the Bausch and Lomb rhymes with Dom.
Bausch and Lomb it can, or Loam, I guess.
No, it's not Loam. It's Bausch and Lomb. So that's why I said Dom.
I should know because I wear contact lenses every day. By the way,
because it rhymes with Dom, and that's what I want you to use from now on. Rhymes with Dom, unless
it actually is going to help me.
It'll help you.
It'll help me.
Yeah.
Bausch and Lomb rhymes with Dom.
He yells at me all the time about this.
About many
share
things.
the wealth.
I have a lot of problems. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm going to go back to my Biofinity lenses for Cooper and then the Bausch and Lomb solution I use for my contact lenses.
You know what, Mervyn Block? Try to go through life without saying the fact that. That drives me crazy too because it adds absolutely nothing.
Oh, the fact that it adds nothing. You're right.
Yeah.
I love all these things
going
that can drive
forward, all those things. I can't.
We know each other all too well.
Strunk and white.
Learning how to annoy the heck out of each other.
Strunk and white.
Moving forward, guys, I will
Order
use
submitted.
Well, at the end of the day,
the
right way to do it, Tom.
That's your single best idea.
Oh. The walk and the cake.
Exact opposite. Yep.
Dom, thank you. When we come back, the government shutdown is now 20 days old with no end in sight. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana will tell us what's ahead on Capitol Hill this week. Squawk Box will be back in just a moment.
I get one.
In a world of conformity, it's often the innovative that stand out. At FlexJet, we've built a state-of-the-art operations control center with an international fleet of private jets and helicopters. Our Red Label crews are leading the way in pilot compensation, all supported by one of the world's largest maintenance networks. This is our timeless dedication to you. That's why we're outgrowing the competition 2-1. At FlexJet, you won't just be flown, you'll be moved.
Finally, a platform that thinks like you. The new Power eTrade Pro gives you nearly unlimited customization with up to 120 tools and charts across 6 workspaces, plus automatic pattern recognition from the original place to trade online.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
The premiums were getting unreasonable.
We just didn't need the coverage anymore.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
TimberTech decking looks like real wood.
But there's no hassle of maintaining it.
I just take the leaf blower and blow the leaves off of it. It's fantastic.
We have a sectional out there, and we'll sit out there with a glass of wine. We feel like we're in heaven.
Genius pioneers like Leonardo da Vinci rose above with ideas the rest of the world believed were just a dream.
Any minute now.
Fueled by AI, that same innovative spirit propels today's aviation leaders forward. Prisma Airs, the world's most comprehensive AI security platform, allows your brave ideas to reach new heights. Be a genius. Deploy bravely.
Order filled.
It is day 20 of the government shutdown. Joining us right now to take a look at the week ahead in the Senate is Senator Bill Cassidy. He chairs the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee. And Senator, thank you for being here today. Day 20 of the shutdown, and people are pointing out, the Wall Street Journal and others,
Order
that
submitted.
as of November 1st, things could get a little more pressure. If this lasts another 12 days, people will start to see what it means for their health care subsidies in the ACA. Where do we stand right now? What breaks this? How do we get back to business? What's going to be the thing that kicks this off?
As a former emergency room doctor,
Right.
A gastroenterologist.
You didn't work in an emergency room.
Well, I did, but
did.
you know, more my.
You're a gastro guy?
Gastro guy.
Oh, hang out. Hang out. I want to talk to you after the show. Okay.
So Schumer could open this up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a catch-22.
Will he?
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Now that they've had their No Kings event, he's been able to show that he's hanging tough for the far left. But that said, all we ask is that you continue the current budget written under the Biden administration so that we can negotiate. The catch-22 is that the people we need to help write the legislation are furloughed during the shutdown, so we cannot write the legislation to address anything because they're furloughed.
Wow. Kevin McCarthy earlier said this shutdown's a little different than others. There's not necessarily a pressure point or something that makes this make sense.
I would say that the pressure point is that healthcare premiums are going up for people on the Obamacare exchanges and in the business world. They're going up 20% for the small businesses. They're going up 30% for the people on the exchanges. What Democrats are proposing doesn't lower the cost of healthcare.
Yeah.
It papers it over with subsidies for those on the exchanges, does nothing for the small business owner who's trying to afford to provide health care for his or her employees. And it does nothing for the employee. Republicans are proposing that we actually decrease the cost of health care, not just for the exchanges, but also for that person who my gosh, my wages aren't going up because more is going to health care. Let's fix it for them too.
How do you get to there? Because that's a long kind of onerous conversation when you have two sides that don't see eye to eye on something like this. It's got to be fixed, and it's got to be fixed pretty quickly. So,
Becky, the ironic thing is, I'm not negotiating on CNBC, but there are things that Republicans and Democrats have previously agreed upon.
Yeah, what are those?
For example, we had a package that passed almost passed the Congress last December, but was agreed upon on a bipartisan basis to address PBMs, PBM reform.
Yeah, pharmacy benefits managers.
Yeah, pharmacy benefit managers. That would have lowered the cost of drugs for the small business owner who's buying insurance for his or her employees, would have lowered the cost of that policy for he or she. It would also have lowered the Part D premium for people on Medicare. So these are things that we've agreed to. Now, I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, if we did this, we would reopen the government.
Yeah.
But it also included price transparency. Price transparency, if someone could see the price, then you could begin to see decreasing cost, not just decreasing premiums.
We have had talks about this for, it feels like decades at this point, for some of these ideas that just never seem to get passed, never seem to get taken seriously, and never make it to the finish line on some of these issues. What happens in your state? Because in Louisiana, I think the marketplace enrollment in Louisiana more than tripled over the last 5 years, leading up to 2025. People are definitely taking advantage of it there. Your uninsured rate in the state went from 16.6% in 2013 to 6.9% in 2022 because Louisiana, under the Affordable Health Care Act, did expand its Medicaid program pretty extensively. So what do you hear from your constituents? What do you think needs to be done again as a doctor, too?
Yeah, believe me, I'm always approaching this. I was a physician who worked in the hospital for the uninsured and the underinsured.
Yeah.
But let me point out, price transparency, we've actually made progress.
Okay.
So under the first Trump administration, when we passed the No Surprises Act, which is a bill I authored, co-sponsored with Senator Hassan from New Hampshire, we passed the No Surprises Act that began to introduce price transparency. The Trump administration doubled down on that. The Biden administration's advanced it. We could advance that more and increase the power.
Submitted. Meaning I know what a test is going to cost me before I get the test. I know what it's going to cost to get an MRI at one hospital versus an outpatient facility?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, the cash price for an MRI may be $600, and then the price in the hospital may be $3,000. If you have a health savings account, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Now, going back to my state, my lovely state, if we say about Louisiana, people in the in the Obamacare exchanges who are at the upper end of income, they're paying through the teeth. They really are paying too much. And so and the small businesses, they're also paying too much. Wage growth is stagnant because workers are having to put more of their income into paying for healthcare premiums. That's why Republicans are about lowering the cost of healthcare actually.
But what's going to happen in 2 months if these subsidies are not extended? What happens in your state?
Oh, in the Obamacare exchanges, if the subsidies are not extended, there'll be a modest increase in the increase. But even without, even with the subsidies, you're going to see 20%, 25% increases because Obamacare has become the Unaffordable Care Act. And what Democrats are proposing does not lower the actual cost of health care. It papers it over for the exchanges with about $26 to $40 billion worth of subsidies.
So are you a no on extending this no matter what happens, even if there's talks among the leadership, you're voting no for this?
No, show me the deal.
Yeah.
Show me the deal because, again, I'm a doc. I want people to have insurance, but I want that insurance to be affordable. And it also has to be affordable for the taxpayer. And so if we can put that together by actually lowering the cost of health care, it's a win for everybody.
How long would it take to work out a deal like that?
Well, like I say, the crazy thing is we have previously agreed upon legislation, which, yes, it has to be updated. But if you update it, and you need the people back in the government so they can help update it, would, according to a previous CBO, one of the things that has been previously agreed to would lower premiums by 11%. No, that's real. And this has been previously agreed to on a bipartisan basis. It's kind of like, I mean, you're just sitting there pulling your hair out saying, if you want to reopen the government, pay the troops, pay your air traffic controller, pay everybody who's frontline, in fact, pay everybody who's working for the government.
Right. You have a bill that you've put together in the past to do just that the essential workers still get paid during government shutdown. And
Ron Johnson is running the bill now, and I'm a co-sponsor. Let's get the essential workers, but let's get government back open. And I say that Schumer could do that like that.
I guess there's a certain school of thought, Senator, that health care for people that can't afford it is going to cost the government money. Your point, I guess, is that we should try to hold down costs as much as we can because we have problem. We have a spending problem. We should find a way to do it, but do it in a cost-effective way, if at all possible. That's where the Democrats conflate what I think Republicans want. And I think they're saying that Republicans want to leave people high and dry.
No, we actually don't. And I would argue that what
Order
Democrats
submitted.
Order filled.
Order
is for that
submitted.
small business owner whose premiums are going up 20%, passing it down to the employee. Republicans want to lower the cost of health care for them, too.
Do you think it's one point, I mean, they do have some crazy stuff in the 1.5 trillion. Would they sign on for $345 billion, just the extension for the subsidy? Have you heard that? Because I know that Mike Lawler went up to Leader Jeffries and said, here's a one-year extension of that. Can we talk about this? And just started berating him about, being a Donald Trump crony or something. Would they accept just a clean extension like that?
Since I think they're being so irrational now, I do not pretend to know what they would do.
Okay.
Because what I'm speaking of is being rational, that reopens the government, that begins the process of lowering health care costs.
Do you want to make sure that there's no, and we've talked about, Republicans say we're covering illegal immigrants. They're not making federal funds available to illegals, but because it's fungible, there are back channel ways in these
well, the state can expand.
Where the state expand. In California, everybody, if you're illegal, you are covered on state Medicaid. Full focus Medicaid, and they pay for it with state dollars, but they have extra federal dollars to cover the stuff that they would have been using the state dollars for. So it effectively is federal funds going to illegal immigrants.
It effectively is, Joe.
Yeah.
And that's what Democrats have said that they want. I would argue.
And they want, by removing provisions of the big beautiful bill, which tried to rein that in.
And I'll also say that some of what the one big beautiful bill did is it banned using federal funds for sex change operations for minors.
Right.
Now, these are the sorts of things that they would bring back in. I think we should be focused on how do we lower the cost of health care, because that's going to benefit the small business owner and the people who he or she employs.
Senator Cassidy, we appreciate your coming in today.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about GERD.
Squawk Box will be right back.
Do you care where the economy is headed? What about elections or climate change? See the forecast consensus on our future at IBKR Forecast Trader. If you disagree, you can buy the contract that looks undervalued. But be careful. You must be right more than 50.5% of the time to win. Go to IBKR Forecast Trader.
This holiday, set the table with the best. From orchard-picked pears to curated gourmet gifts, Harry & David brings a legacy of flavor to every celebration. Make it a hand-picked holiday with Harry & David.
CMOs, CEOs, listen up. 81% of commerce happens in the real world, not online. Your 2026 plan needs a real-world strategy. AI is killing your traffic. Big tech owns your audience. You need to turn every touch point into a direct-to-consumer funnel. Scan now for the 2026 Big-Ass CMO Growth Plan. Flowcode. Instantly connect fans to your brand.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Attention shoppers. Football is back. Shop game day essentials now. Fuel up for football with community coffee. Available in the coffee aisle.
Takes the snap. Goes to throw. Spins around the defender. One man defeats. He's at the 20. The 10.
Order submitted.
If the Colonel knew we waited this long to bring our tangy, smoky KFC Original Honey Barbecue back, he'd be, a little upset.
Order submitted.
The Colonel lived, so we could chicken. Back because you begged for it. KFC Original Honey Barbecue.
What is the book you couldn't keep to yourself?
I didn't know who would even care about my book racks on TikTok.
Chaotic science energy.
Turns out it helped an entire community of people fall in love with reading.
You gotta read this. Read it!
Coming up, the markets, the Fed, and private credit concerns. We're going to tackle those topics and more with former Dallas Fed President and Goldman Sachs Vice Chairman Rob Kaplan. We're going to do that next. Plus, the government shutdown and the impact on air travel. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is going to be our special guest. That's going to happen at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Do not go anywhere. Squawk Box coming right back after this.
Order filled.
At PGIM, our ETFs use today's best ideas to help bring tomorrow's
Order
goals
submitted.
within reach. Our broad suite of over
Order
50
submitted.
low-cost ETFs is backed by 150 years of active management expertise. Explore PGIM ETFs
Order submitted.
today.
Investing. You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the waves
Order
up.
submitted.
That's not how investing works. You're not a child playing a game. This is grown-up business. The real thing. You know wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
Time is your most important asset, and AI is transforming the speed of business. Your innovation and how you protect it depends on the technology you choose to trust. 70% of the Fortune 100 trust CrowdStrike's leading AI-native cybersecurity platform, built to secure their business, and the AI fueling their innovation. AI is changing the world. We're securing it. CrowdStrike. We stop breaches.
Order filled. Order submitted.
At the Farmer's Dog, our fresh food plans give dogs good health and great hair. Get 50% off your
Order
first box
submitted.
Order filled at thefarmersdog.com.
Order submitted.
You finally made it. Now let's go get that gold.
Order submitted.
I got a better idea.
The best investors see the bigger picture. That's why today, Blackstone is investing in the picks and shovels of tomorrow, like data centers and energy solutions.
We're gonna need more shovels!
Delivering proven performance for 40 years. Blackstone.
But when we dig deeper here and look to see if there's a turn in the credit cycle, which is effectively what the market seems to be focusing on, we can find no evidence. Now, that's what we're seeing today. That could always change. But if we look at the asset quality numbers that we've seen over the last several quarters, we're seeing very little deterioration at all.
That was Mark Pinto, Moody's Ratings Global Head of Private Credit, saying the banking system and private credit markets are sound despite rising concerns following the bankruptcies of First Brands and Tricolor. Join us right now for more on all of this. Goldman Sachs' Vice Chairman Robert Kaplan. He is a former Dallas Fed president. And we've been having these discussions about private credit. You know, you talk to some of the big bankers. They have issues with the private credit industry. Some people say it's for competitive reasons that they make those comments. Others think that there really are cracks in it. What do you say?
You have to remember that credit spreads for not only investment grade but non-investment grade are historically tight, and there's a lot of liquidity in the system, and as you said, a lot of money flowing into private credit. It wouldn't surprise me if you see some more credit issues, but I don't think it's a systemic issue. I think it's natural to see some credit problems. It's been many years since we've had a credit cycle. And I think this concern is healthy. And I think the extent that there's a little less liquidity and maybe credit spreads are a little more demanding, particularly for less investment grade, I think that actually would be a healthy thing.
Rob, so let's just walk through, for those in the audience who may not fully know what we're talking about here, you know, arguably with a private credit, if you will, you have what's called a duration match, meaning, you know, a fund like Apollo or some other firm, we'll take Apollo out because they now have an insurance operation funding a lot of this, but you go out, they raise money from pension funds and other people, and they say, give us the money for the next 10 years, and then we're going to loan it out for the next 10 years, which should be a safer system, ostensibly, than the bank, which effectively takes your money, loans it out, but effectively can get called on it at any moment because you can go to the bank and want your money back. Have we built a safer system, or is the system as dangerous? And I ask because the other piece of this that people talk about is the fact that the banks are still providing liquidity lines, if you will, to these private credit
Order submitted.
Institutions and funds, and that we don't necessarily understand the valuation work necessarily that's going on inside of them.
Yeah, so let's
Order
take this
submitted.
in pieces. First of all, I think the addition and expansion of private credit has been helpful. We need bank lending. We also need private credit lending. And I think that's been a good development. As you said, a bank typically might be leveraged.
Order filled.
It also has
Order submitted.
Concern about deposit flight. So if it has undue losses, in effect, it's got some embedded leverage and it's got to worry about its uninsured deposits. Whereas private credit structure, at least, is one for one. And yes, the only thing to watch out is make sure that the back leverage, the lending to the fund against the fund, doesn't become too significant. But I actually think the private credit structure is a welcome addition. The only thing I would also say, though, is there's a lot of money flowing into private credit. And credit spreads for investment grade are very tight, but I think that's investment grade. I do worry that high yield credit spreads have also gotten very tight, and there's a lot of liquidity.
Order canceled.
If there's more caution, scrutiny over that, I think that's a healthy thing, and I think would be welcome in my mind.
Okay, let me throw in another question into the mix, though. Lloyd Blankfeins made the comment that, you know, so many of these credit funds are now effectively being financed by insurance companies or insurance arms, oftentimes, of the private credit funds themselves. Now, insurance ostensibly is a regulated, highly regulated business. In some cases, it's state regulated. Does that add a risk to you, or does that make it safer?
It doesn't do it. It just means it's worth scrutiny. It shows that there's a big flood of money, and this explains why there's been a flood of liquidity. Again, I would differentiate in my mind between investment grade and non-investment grade. I used to run the high yield business back in previous iterations at Goldman Sachs. I think your vigilance and scrutiny on high yield should be higher. The credit standards should be tougher. And yes, there is insurance money flowing in also, not just investment grade, but less than investment grade. And to the extent there's more scrutiny there and some more concern right now, I think that's a good thing and a healthy thing. And I think we'll be better off for it in the long run.
Okay, let me pivot for a moment just to the economy. I don't know if you saw Jason Furman's essay last week where he effectively was talking about a bubble in the economy, an AI bubble. Effectively said you take AI out of the GDP numbers and you basically are flat. Basically, you're flat. That's it. This is not a booming economy at all.
Sure.
How much should we be concerned about that or not?
So tariffs, at least in the short run, have slowed growth. In the longer run, we'll see how that plays out. Also, the limits on not just immigration, but the fact that we've got 12 to 15 million undocumented temporary status workers where they're less sure of their status, that has also slowed growth. At the same time, you've got this AI boom. So it doesn't surprise me that away from AI related, we've got sluggishness, and yet we've got these tailwinds from AI coming. And so it's a mixed bag. And if that's what he's saying, it's a mixed bag. I agree with that. I think if I'm sitting at the Fed, though, when I look out at businesses, and in my seat at Goldman, when I look out at business isn't great, but it's not falling off a cliff. It's solid. It's sluggish to solid, depending on the area. And so I think I'm more optimistic that with tax incentives, the AI boom, regulatory relief coming, we could get some firming into next year. And that's why I think the Fed's got to be very careful. It may well cut in October, but I think the bar after October is higher than the market thinks about further cuts.
Okay, Rob, we're going to leave it there. Always appreciate your insights, especially when we're talking about risks in the system and what the Fed should be doing. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Good to talk to you, Andrew.
You bet. Becky?
Andrew, thank you. It is 8 a.m. on the East Coast, and you're watching Squawk Box right here on CNBC. I'm Becky Quick, along with Joe Kernan and Andrew Ross Sorkin. We want to take a look at the futures this morning. You're going to see right now, we are still looking at some positive reaction in the market. Dow futures up by just over 85 points. The NASDAQ up by over 100 points, and the S&P futures up by 20. If you check out Treasury yields, those are a little higher as well. Actually, the 10-year dipped slightly, but it's still above 4% versus what we had seen last week. The 2-year is sitting at 346. And for more on the markets, we want to get right over to Mike Santoli. He's standing by at the New York Stock Exchange. Good morning, Mike. What's on your radar screen this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Becky. So we're trying to kind of maybe get some traction into the upper end of last week's range. You know, we have not had much in the way of pullback in terms of high to low, barely got to 3% intraday. All of last week, the S&P 500 spent within the range of the prior Friday's move. So you could say it's indecisive. It didn't really settle much. On the other hand, it really just does look like a sort of a soft patch, maybe to be expected seasonally. We almost got to the 50-day moving average. It's been very tough to get any downside momentum. That being said, you guys have been talking about a lot of the headline issues and some of these ghosts of crises past that the market is confronting. And it's starting to look a little bit like, you know, sort of a month-long trading range, which is not that surprising coming into the fall. So I guess right now it's, you know, you kind of reserve judgment as to whether the week-ago Friday sell-off was the start of a new volatility bout. We still have 20 VIX. That's a little bit high. Take a look at the character of the underlying market here, where some of the most aggressive stocks have opened up a massive lead on what you would call quality. This is high beta. It's the most volatile stocks in the S&P 500. And this is a 2-year chart. So you see a few months ago, just lift off there. That's where you're seeing a lot of the speculative activity, a lot of the AI trades, a lot of the kind of alt energy stuff that we know about. And then quality's just been kind of plugging along there. Now, I'm not saying that gap has to close, but it does tell you that it was a somewhat lower quality character to that last push of the rally. We haven't been able to keep retail traders from buying this dip, and same thing today. Let me look at the financial sector really quick. Obviously, a locus of a lot of the attention you guys were just talking about. And what happened was we almost got to the fourth quarter high of last year. That was right at the end of November. Did not quite get there. It's still a long-term uptrend, 200-day moving average moving higher. Insurance has been weak in there along with regional banks. So we'll see if it can kind of try to find some dip buyers in here and see if that, as a bellwether, starts to still stay in the bullish column, guys.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. We'll see you a little later today.
Tomorrow it'll be 3 weeks. It's day 20 of the government shutdown. Air traffic controllers are continuing to work without a paycheck. Joining us now with the latest Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy. Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you. You haven't had a lot of individuals. It's not called a blue flu. I don't know what we'd call it, but some are not coming in. It's still safe at this point?
Yeah, so first, thank you to all our air traffic controllers who do show up for work. We've had a few blips, Joe, in the system where, you know, in one region, one day, another region, another day, we'll have some delays because air traffic controllers are out. There's been some more sick leave than we'd seen in the past. But I'm telling you what, looking forward, the next check that comes for air traffic controllers are a week from tomorrow. And I think we could see more disruptions when that happens. A lot of them have made the point they have to find other ways to feed their families, whether they're going to drive Uber or they're going to find some short-term employment. We could see some more disruption. I don't want to see that. I think that would be difficult for the traveling public. But, you know, this is the consequence of a long-term shutdown. We're 20 days in. Republicans have said, let's do a clean CR. Democrats have said, you know what, we want to negotiate on health care, specifically health care for illegals. And Republicans don't really have any room to negotiate because they've done what's clean. What they had in September, Republicans want to have in October. And so there's not room to negotiate. Really, Democrats have to come to the table, stop holding the economy hostage.
If it keeps going, and I don't know how long we go, but you could see more, maybe, as you described, doing other things because they have to feed the family. Will they be gone? When you say you want dedicated and the best air traffic controllers around, would some of them be let go for not showing up? Do you have the ability to do that?
I do have the ability to do that. A vast majority of them are amazing controllers, American servants. They wear American flag Pell pins on their chests. We do have a few locations where there's more problems, consistent problems, even when we didn't have the shutdown. And again, I want the best controllers that are dedicated to the work that they do. And if we see a pattern of people not showing up, or when things are difficult, they call in sick, I think those are people we should look at. But again, these are a critical part of our safety apparatus in the air. And I need more of them, not less of them. I'm about 2,000 to 3,000 short right now, so I'm trying to add to the number, not subtract from the number.
How about TSA? It's been mentioned on the show more than a few times that previous shutdowns have come to an end because of the possible impact on the economy, the negative impact if you're not flying, if it's severely hampered. And TSA is the same situation as air traffic controllers, it seems like.
They're very similar, but TSA falls under Homeland Security. Kristi Noem has TSA, but I think the analysis is the same. People who do critical jobs for the economy not being paid for those jobs. But I've been part of a number of shutdowns over the course of my tenure in Congress, and no one even in Congress knows when it's going to end. There's a certain energy and fuel that has to burn. And I think once more Americans become sick of the hassle of not having their government open, that's when the pressure comes. And I think Democrats will come to their senses and say, okay, let's open this thing back up. Let's have a conversation. Let's negotiate and talk when the government's funded. I think that's where we're going to get to. Whether it's going to be in 5 days or 5 weeks, I'm not sure.
It's a different world with you in charge, obviously. I can remember, I tried to figure out, I finally understood what a racist bridge was, because if you don't use infrastructure funds to connect certain communities, I can sort of get there, but it was pretty crazy. You're willing to fire, or at least you're willing to withhold $40 million if California doesn't require truck drivers to be proficient in the English language?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So this has been a long-standing rule in America that if you're going to be a truck driver, you're going to drive an 18-wheeler, you're going to drive a school bus, you have to be proficient in the English language. So you got to be able to speak English, and you have to understand road signs. It goes back decades. It's just that the rule was not being enforced. And so we're now enforcing the rule because we've seen a number of crashes where, again, these drivers, they can't read road signs. If there is a crash, they can't communicate with law enforcement. And so every state has complied, all of them except California. Which is baffling to us because, again, they should be just as concerned about safety as the rest of us. Now, the problem is if you get a CDL, a commercial driver's license in California, that license is not just for California. You can drive anywhere in the 50 states. And so these drivers from California who aren't proficient in English drive across the country. Now, other states, if they pull over those drivers, they'll flag them as not being proficient in English, and they'll take them out of service. And again, when these big rigs are taken out of service, it costs a lot of money to get a driver back in and start to move the load. So it's a significant penalty. We hope California gets on board. We've taken $40 million away from them. We also have, they've also issued a lot of CDL licenses to those who are not here lawfully, or they'll issue a driver's license for 5 years, but the work permit for the migrant is only 1 year. So it extends well beyond the work permit, which encourages those who are here maybe with a work permit to stay beyond their work permit because they have a driver's license. California has to do a lot of work in looking back at their system where they gave illegal driver's licenses and revoked those. Again, this is just about safety, though, Joe. It's not about politics. It's about making sure our roads are safe.
I know NASA is under your purview as well. Exciting about the Artemis, too. You're making strides there. Less emphasis on the climate crisis now at NASA. I can't imagine the carbon footprint for this. You thinking through these things?
There's a lot of agencies that can deal with climate. There's only one that does human space exploration, and that's NASA. And that's what we've refocused on. So in the first part of next year, Artemis 2 is going to go out to the moon and back. They're not going to land this time, but this is the first time in 54 years we're going back to the moon. We actually right now down at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, we have the rocket alongside the capsule where it's going to hold our astronauts. We're about to merge those two together. We do the final testing. We think the original timeline was doing this launch in April. We think we can do it in early February, which is really cool. Artemis 3 comes a couple years after that. Now, SpaceX had the contract for Artemis 3.
Submitted.
By the way, I love SpaceX. It's an amazing company. The problem is they're behind. They push their timelines out, and we're in a race against China. The president and I want to get to the moon in this president's term, so I'm going to open up the contract.
Order submitted.
Other space companies compete with SpaceX, like Blue Origin. And again, whatever one can get us there first to the moon, we're going to take. And if SpaceX is behind, but Blue Origin can do it before them, good on Blue Origin. But by the way, we also might have two companies that can get us back to the moon in 2028. But again, we're not going to wait for one company. We're going to push this forward and win the second space race against the Chinese, get back to the moon, set up a camp, a base, and from there, we're going to figure out how we can actually get to Mars.
Order filled.
Okay. We're like out of time, and no one's going to accuse me of wasting our substantive time on superfluous stuff. So we're already out of time. So now I'm just stealing time from something else. Can you just describe world champion? How big was the pole that you climbed? Were you on a 60 or 90 footer? Did you win the world championship? You go up with spike shoes and like I guess I've seen people do that in these lumberjack sports. Yeah. Was it a 90 footer? And how quickly did you go up and down?
I won them both, the 60 and the 90 foot. You have little spurs on your feet, and you have a steel core hemp rope. It's a race up, and then it's a race back down. And so it takes about 16 seconds to get up and about 4 seconds to come down, 3.5 seconds to come down. It is like the bull riding of the rodeo, the great sports of the old-time lumberjack. By the way, this is the most Americana sport you can find. Again, it's these men and women who helped log our great white pine regions in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, that then these sports developed from. And again, it's a throwback to the turn of the last century.
Becky couldn't believe you could do 60 feet in 12 seconds. He did
No, it's unbelievable.
90 feet, and then you come down in 4, so you're basically almost
Sliding.
Free fall.
Yep. Free
So
fall.
Becky, just so Becky knows, I was a lot younger and a lot thinner back in the day. Just
No,
so she
I've been
knows
looking
that.
up
Not
videos
today.
of this since he mentioned this earlier.
Sununu told me about. Sununu was on last week, and he told me about this, and I'm afraid of.
By the way,
a lot
he's
of
doing a
things.
great job at A4A for the airlines. Sununu is a great pick, and he's doing a wonderful job actually taking that organization forward. So he's been a great partner for us at DOT as well.
Okay. Is that a Wisconsin thing? The whole lumberjack thing?
Yeah,
Is that?
So a lot of West Coast climbers, a lot of big trees out there, a lot of choppers and sawyers that come from Australia and New Zealand. Log rolling as well, the log in the water, 2 people on it competing back and forth. That's more of a North American sport. A lot of Canadians compete also. So you get these 4 countries that come together, and they have this, who's the king of the forest? Who's going to win these all-around titles? So listen, if you haven't seen one, you should actually go check one out. And by the way, for all your great viewers that have money, if you want to sponsor one, even better, give some money to these great competitions, keeping them alive, and the great men and women who compete.
Mr.
Nice pitch, right, Joe?
Secretary.
Like that?
Yeah,
Pitching-
I do.
I'm pitching
I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to toss it over to Andrew. That those are 2 of the things. That's one of the things we will never say in our life. I think, Andrew, right? That we won some lumberjack. When I'm on that ladder changing the light bulb, I'm scared almost to death. So, Mr. Secretary, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
It's just not us, Andrew. We do
not
other
on our
things.
bingo card. We're not built for it, Joe. We're not. I wish we were. I wish we were.
Never.
When we come back on the other side of this, this guy might be able to, Joe. This guy might be able to take care of business here. We're going to speak to Mohammed Al-Arian after the break about the markets and so much more. And then later,
Order
National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. He's going to be with us for the latest on the government shutdown. Squawk Box coming right back
Order
after
submitted.
this.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Order canceled. Order submitted. Order
One of the things I'm
submitted.
really struck with is how focused you are on the customer.
You need to be maniac about products because your clients need to have the best user experience possible. The more data you have, the better service you can give to your client in terms of the new best product. Accenture is helping us analyze the data in the best possible way.
Talk about what's next.
Better of the same. It's not more of the same. It's
Order
better of
filled.
Order filled.
Searching for the perfect underwear? Tommy John combines innovation and excellence in every pair. Available in multi-packs, Tommy John's breathable second skin underwear is even softer than cotton, with
Order
up to 4 times
canceled.
the stretch of competing brands. We've also crafted indulgently soft second skin sleepwear for luxurious
Order
evenings
submitted.
and mornings. Invest in your comfort worry-free. If you don't love your first purchase, we'll
Order
make it right.
submitted.
Because if you dress to the nines, your underwear should
Order
be a 10.
filled.
Go to
Order
TommyJohn.com now
submitted.
for 20% off your first order.
When cyber threats target the world's data, seconds matter. That's why the world's most trusted brands depend on ReliaQuest Gray Matter to contain threats in seconds.
Order filled.
It's the only technology-independent AI-driven platform built by security operators for security
Order
operators.
submitted.
ReliaQuest. Make security possible.
Overtime is about understanding what just happened in the markets that day and preparing for tomorrow. I'm looking to talk to sophisticated investors,
Order
beginning
submitted.
investors. I'm always learning.
Closing Bell Overtime, weekdays 4 Eastern and streaming on CNBC Plus.
I got something coming up.
This fall, get ready to think fast and eat faster at Raising Cane's. With hand-battered and cooked-to-order chicken fingers. So grab a box combo and catch.
My name's Chad Powers. 1, 2, 3.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
With hundreds of sales every week and low prices store-wide,
Order
you can eat well
submitted.
for less at Whole Foods Market.
In corporate news this morning, research firm Counterpoint says that Apple's iPhone 17 sales outperformed its predecessor by 14% in China and the United States in its first 10 days of availability in the two countries. Sales of the base model 17 nearly doubled in China compared to the 16 during that same period. Amazon says that the underlying issue that caused an AWS outage overnight has been fully mitigated, but it does say that some users may be throttled as they work toward a full resolution.
I read the specifics of what it was, and it was like gobbledygook. I thought I was going to read it out. Yeah, what it was. I mean, it was all jargon from that. It happened down in one specific area of the country. No, it was in Virginia, and it was some nodal something or other, and it was. I just skipped it. Boeing winning FAA approval to increase production of the 737 MAX jet. This lifts the cap placed on the company following the blowout of that door plug on an Alaska Airlines flight. The new limit for monthly production will go from 38 jets to 42.
Order filled.
Meantime, joining us right now to take a look at the markets, Mohamed Alarian's with us, Allianz's Chief
Order
Economic
submitted.
Advisor.
Order filled.
Mohamed, it's nice to see you. I don't know if you were able to listen to the conversation we're having with Mr. Kaplan earlier about what's happening in private credit, but some of the issues that he raised towards the end about sort of where our economy really is. We were discussing this paper by Jason Furman, where we're looking at the AI boom being such a huge part of the economy, and effectively saying if there was no AI boom and you took that out of the GDP numbers, you'd be at basically flat. What do you make of that, and is that something that concerns you, or is that a feature, not a bug?
Morning, Andrew. There is no doubt that
Order
we are
submitted.
in an AI-driven economy, and for good reason. The promise of AI in terms of productivity gains is huge. So if we didn't have AI, we wouldn't look as good as we do now, and we wouldn't be outperforming the rest of the world. But we do have AI. So I'm not too worried that it's an AI-driven boom. What I would stress is this is a rational bubble, that a lot of money is being thrown at different AI actors at the micro level because the promise is so huge. That is a good thing. That's what distinguishes us from the rest of the world, because different AI companies are competing and excelling. However, at the end of the day, they're going to be just a few handful of winners, and therefore some of the investment will result in tears. But overall, for the economy, this is good news.
Order submitted.
It promises us significant productivity gains.
Okay, so that's the good news. Explain valuations at the same time that we have gold rising at the levels we do then.
Yeah, and the gold issue is very simple. The rest of the world, while they trust U.S. private sector, they are worried about the dollar. And you see this in the extent to which inflows into markets from the rest of the world are hedged. So the rest of the world says, I want to go long U.S. enterprise, but I want to short the dollar. How do they diversify away from the dollar? They slowly buy gold. And if you look at the recent numbers, you have two drivers of gold prices, both of which are in play for a long time. You have central banks slowly moving from the dollar into gold, slowly. And you have institutional investors increasing the allocation to gold in their model portfolio. On top of that, you have speculators. So that means it's not going to be straight up, but it will continue to go up, in my opinion.
So gold goes up to what? And then how do you think about that in the context of Bitcoin?
So first, to what? It wouldn't surprise me if we see 5,000 this year. Bitcoin, the pyramid I just described for gold of central banks, then of institutional, and then of speculators, for Bitcoin, as you heard Anthony say, it is still evolving, meaning that the speculation side is much larger than for gold, and then the fundamental side is still smaller. So Bitcoin is going to be much more volatile. It will not have as yet the characteristics of gold. It needs to develop this fundamental holding, which it is doing, but it is way behind gold.
And then finally, Mohammed, I'm curious where you land on the private credit issue. There's some people suggesting there's cracks in that and that therefore we need to be very mindful of those cracks. They could lead to other problems in the economy. Other people say, you know, private credit is effectively separated from the banking system. The bank earnings have been pretty great. A lot of people excited about all of the things happening in the markets right now. So IPOs and pipelines for M&A, banks should be sort of set. Are they?
So first, in terms of financial stability, Andrew, whether you call it cockroaches or ants, they're correct. We've seen a few strains. We are going to see more, but they're not termites. I want to stress. They're not eating away at the foundation of financial stability. These are isolated cases. They come in a period where people have stretched too far for returns. That's what happened when spreads compress. It pushes certain people out the risk curve, and they take on risks that they shouldn't. So I think of it as, yes, there will be more cases. I think Jamie Dimon is correct, but it's not termite. In terms of the system as a whole, not only it's not a problem of financial stability, but actually it's good. It's allowing certain companies to get financing they wouldn't get otherwise. And if you go to developing countries, if you see what's happening to credit in developing countries, that's a really good thing as well.
Mohammed Al-Arian, it's always great to see you. Thanks for helping us on a Monday morning.
Thank you, Andrew.
Appreciate it. Joe?
Yeah, don't mention the Jets again. Good God. Still to come, a preview of some of the big tech earnings out in the next couple of weeks, plus National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett will be our guest. Squawk Box coming right back.
Goldman Sachs Active ETF GPIQ consistently seeks to deliver monthly income without sacrificing capital growth. Active ETFs from Goldman Sachs. Not just active, relentless.
Welcome to the Now Way to Network. They switched to Juniper's AI native network. And now everyone's so productive, they're operating at a higher gear. That's the Now Way to Network at work, with real AI, putting you in the fast lane.
In a world of conformity, it's often the innovative that stand out. At FlexJet, we've built a state-of-the-art operations control center with an international fleet of private jets and helicopters. Our Red Label crews are leading the way in pilot compensation, all supported by one of the world's largest maintenance networks. This is our timeless dedication to you. That's why we're outgrowing the competition 2-to-1. At FlexJet, you won't just be flown, you'll be moved.
Hi, I'm Cody. I wear a lot of different hats. Today I'm a firefighter, I'm also a police officer, and at the end of the day, I'm a Tractor Supply team member.
Tractor Supply's Hometown Heroes program honors all who serve, and that makes me really proud.
When veterans come in, it's thank you for your service. I appreciate everything you did.
From all of us out here to all our hometown heroes, for your service, for your patriotism, thank you.
To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, John of Devil Dog will hand out 60 of his treats to 60 good dogs.
Yeah, good boy.
To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, Scott from Stringjoy will pack 60 guitar strings in 60 seconds.
Thought that would take a lot longer.
Worldwide Exchange, weekdays 5 a.m. Eastern and streaming on CNBC+. Never miss a moment.
My hope is that there is enough open trade so that the movement of trade and goods can continue in a reasonably balanced way.
I don't think technology substitutes humans, but they augment humans. We probably need fewer future hires.
There's a whole industry that still needs to be created in terms of the computational power available to power the AI revolution.
Israel's military says that a ceasefire in Gaza has resumed following an attack that killed 2 of its soldiers. Israel said that it struck Hamas targets across Gaza, including a tunnel and weapons depots, after militants launched an anti-tank missile and fired on its troops. Palestinians said that 26 people had been killed. This was the most serious test so far of the U.S.-brokered ceasefire. On Air Force One yesterday, President Trump said that the truce was still in place. He said Hamas leadership may not have been involved in the violations, but, Joe, this is obviously a very uneasy truce and a pretty strained one, and has been from the get-go. Hamas leadership saying they didn't know about that, but Hamas leadership was also saying in the 2 years leading up to the October 7th attacks that all they wanted was peace. It's hard to know who's telling the truth, when and where, and this has been fraught from the get-go.
Yeah, the
Order submitted.
60 Minutes last night had Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner on, and they met in Egypt with the leaders of Hamas, which was really unprecedented. And it, you know, you never know what to believe, but they came out afterwards and said, this is not, we're still going to do what we have promised to do. It's kind of sad, kind of heartbreaking, actually, because Steve Witkoff lost a son, and one leader of Hamas had lost a son in one of the attacks, and the whole thing is, you know, you just hope so much that there's light at the end of the tunnel and something good can come from
Order filled.
Order filled.
I'm not going to talk about Leslie Stahl. Anyway, up next, a closer look at the tech sector with the founder of Constellation Research, Ray Wang. And as we head to break, a look at the pre-market winners and losers on the NASDAQ Squawk Box. We'll be right back.
Order submitted.
In the world of investing, a beast lurks between the numbers. Some watch from the safety of the sidelines, but others saddle up and ride that one-ton rowdy ribeye for all he's got. If that's you, join us on Tasty Trade, named best online broker for options trading. Genius loves company.
Seabeds, your company started in the kitchen.
Hello?
Now it has 3. Your team of 5 grew to an army of 500. And that's your logo, right there in marble.
That's big.
To grow your business from big to bigger, you need an advisor built for the middle market.
Our data shows that this deal works.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Accounting, advisory, insurance, and more. Seabeds, insights that impact.
At Baird, we offer a unique perspective on wealth management.
Because you offer a unique perspective on what a life should look like.
We listen and really get to know you. Then we customize a plan, especially for you and your family.
From making your tax burden less of a burden
to estate and trust strategies that protect your loved ones.
And an investment portfolio that powers your financial goals.
Order submitted.
When the focus is on you, it makes all the difference.
Sorry about that. We'd like to try the monster menu.
The monster menu at BK is
Order
frankly
submitted.
fun for families.
Order
Of
filled.
Order filled.
Order
To
submitted.
grow the best tailgates in Texas, you need the highest quality beef.
Order canceled.
And HEB certified
Order
meat cutters
submitted.
like me.
And me. We hand cut and
Order
grind fresh
canceled.
beef 7
Order
days a week.
submitted.
High quality beef and custom cuts. No one does tailgating like HEB.
Space that adapts.
Order filled.
Clarity that keeps you focused.
Order filled.
And style that grabs hold. Welcome to the Genesis GV80. Get the GV80 for 2.99% APR for 60 months. Exclusively at
Order
your DFW
submitted.
Genesis retail.
Welcome back, everybody. The tech sector last week saw a lot of volatility. It was driven by weakening sentiment around valuations and bank-related stress across the broader market. So joining us for more on this right now is Ray Wang. He is Constellation Research founder and chairman and AI Forum co-founder. Ray, let's talk this through. Normally, I wouldn't start really broad with you on the markets, but last week it did seem like it was China concerns, questions about just bank lending, all kinds of odd things that played into some of the tech volatility. How did you read all of that? What do you expect to come this week?
You're definitely right. Last week, the market was looking for a signal to say we've hit peak, we've got to pull back, risk off. And this week, we're starting to enter a market where the data is at the end of the week. And so if you think about where we are right now, the macro is government data is coming at the end of the week. BLS and CPI might actually force more rate cuts, and that's what people are hoping for. We're also in a situation where people are saying, do we have too much capacity? What's happening? And if we think about it, we need about 250 gigawatts of compute power by 2030. We have 122 gigawatts today. That's 2x that we're trying to get to by 2030, and that's why AI CapEx is on fire. You've got AWS, Azure, Google, Meta, Oracle, all coming in for about $410 billion for 2025, and that is up 7% from where we are this year. And so you're going to see continued increase in CapEx, and that's what we're going to be looking for. And then on the other side of the equation with digital ads, you'll definitely see digital ads growing somewhere about 6 to 7%, but that's a big number as well on the other half of the Mag 7.
So are you of the opinion as we head into this that CapEx is going to continue to grow or at least maintain the pace that we've seen to date?
We are at a war for compute power, and it's going to be the cost per gigawatt, and I think that's only going to continue. I mean, an interesting fact, if you look at something in Saudi Arabia, they went from net exporter of energy to becoming about the net exporter of compute power. That's their direction, and the whole world is competing to get the cost of gigawatts per hour down as much as they can.
That's certainly been the tailwind for all of these stocks. The headwind has to be the China trade situation, where you think things stand with that. And it seems like that's been reaching a crescendo lately, too. How do you play that, Ray?
Well, I think it's already factored in. I mean, we've got a lot of stocks that are waiting for the China trade to actually come down, to actually be resolved. Take NVIDIA, for instance, but right now what's actually powering NVIDIA are the 6 of the Mag 7. And so imagine if the China trade talks actually got some fruition, we'd actually have even better results. So I think it's already priced in, but could it get worse? The option is always out there.
What are your favorites here at this point?
Well, I actually think there's a lot of upside in Amazon, and we're going to see a lead into Amazon reInvent, which is their big show in December. They've been flat or down for most of the year, and I think what people are discounting is the fact that even despite today's issue in the news, what they're discounting is the fact that a lot of development is happening on Amazon, and Amazon has a really broad network of centers. The problem is really, does the core business of Amazon outweigh the AWS portion of Amazon? And I think that's what we're going to find out. The other one I'm looking forward to seeing is what happens with Tesla. The pay package that's coming a little bit in December when they approve it really has Tesla stock set at 2,700 if Elon Musk actually achieves his numbers to get to $1 trillion, and that's going to be a very interesting piece if he can actually get to the 27 trillion that there's for in his pay package. So an 8.5 trillion market value cap is going to be crazy at a $2,700 share. So
are there any of these stocks you don't own right now, Ray?
Nope, still full in on Mag 7. But there are other interesting stocks that are on the periphery that are interesting. Really what's happening on the energy side and the components around energy. If we're going to take at least $5 trillion of direct foreign investment that's going into data centers, precision manufacturing, distribution centers, and power plants, then you're going to want to bet on those related stocks. So stocks like Exelon, stocks that are in the energy space like Eklo and small modular reactors, they're going to be very interesting in terms of the next wave out.
What do you think of a company like a CoreWeave, newly IPO'd, a company that's building some of those data centers?
Well, what CoreWeave doing is making it a lot easier for companies to actually jump into the chaos of what we're seeing across data centers, AI stacks, and infrastructure. I'm bullish on CoreWeave in terms of what they're going to be able to do to transform that market, because right now it's the Wild West, and we got to get to some level of standardization, and that's what CoreWeave is doing for customers.
Okay.
Order submitted.
Ray Wong, Ray, thank you for joining us this morning.
Happy Monday.
You too.
All right, up next, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. Squawk Box will be right back.
You buy low, sell high, jump on that trend, ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline.
Order submitted.
You're serious about investing, right?
Market conditions can test an investment. So at Federated Hermes, we put the stocks in our MDT portfolios through a ruthless vetting process because we want them to work, come rain or come shine.
At PGIM, our ETFs use today's best ideas to help bring tomorrow's goals within reach. Our broad suite of over 50 low-cost ETFs is backed by 150 years of active management expertise. Explore PGIM ETFs today.
I can't wait to see their faces when we come out.
What seems to be the problem, soldier?
The belly's full of Greeks.
Sneaky cowards.
Order filled.
Changes everything.
Send it back!
With one investment, you can access the NASDAQ 100 innovators who are rethinking the world. Before investing carefully, read and consider fund investment objectives, risks,
Order
charges,
filled.
expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
Pioneers in radiation, like
Order
Marie Curie,
filled.
pushed past skepticism to uncover a power that went unseen.
You all need to label things better. Someone almost drank this.
The explosion of AI is driving today's healthcare leaders to reimagine patient care. Prisma Airs, the world's most comprehensive AI
Order
security
filled.
platform,
Order filled.
allows
Order
your
submitted.
own brave ideas to radiate hope. Be a genius. Deploy bravely.
I use PayPal to buy
Order
this ticket,
filled.
paying it off over time. And I get 5% cash back. No fees, no
Order
interest.
You know
canceled.
what else has no interest? Me.
Now I know why your parents are sitting up in business.
Make the most of your money this holiday.
Hey, you could have upgraded.
PayPal.
Oh, so you corporate types are rock stars?
Order submitted.
ridiculous as rock stars being corporate types.
Workday's AI agents are making you all rock stars.
Sorry, habit. Proceed.
So that's a slide. Any questions?
And now with Workday,
Order
we can manage
submitted.
our people and AI agents. I'm sorry. Who are they? Oh, interns.
We're interns.
Good night!
I'll see you tomorrow.
Very big interview this morning. The man behind some of the biggest deals in media.
You have a stream of live content that the public's always going to be interested in.
With this whole Pulte incident, can you confirm or deny?
You know, Joe, Treasury secretaries dating back to Alexander Hamilton have a history of dueling. Turned out a little better for Treasury side this time.
Celebrating 30 years of Squawk Box and streaming on CNBC+.
It's day 20 of the government shutdown. Join us now, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. It's good to see you, Kevin. Good morning.
Morning.
This, give me the blueprint of how you think this ends. I don't think it's that difficult for you, maybe, to go out on a limb here. Do you think the president gets involved and gives the Democrats some type of assurance for these Obamacare subsidies, or do you think he takes a hard line? And you mentioned over the weekend that some extreme measures are possible about firing people, taking away things that are important to Democrats. What do you think really happened?
Right.
Order
Well, first of all,
submitted.
the president has been very active throughout this process, but it's also his position that this is a thing that the Senate needs to work out. A lot of our friends in the Senate have said that it was just bad optics for Democrats to open the government before the No Kings rally, and
Order
that now
submitted.
there's a shot that this week things will come together and very quickly the moderate Democrats will move forward and get us an open government, at which point we could negotiate whatever policies they want to negotiate with regular order. Now, I was very pleased to see that my friend Senator Shaheen from New Hampshire, a very sound-minded Democrat, came out and supported opening the government on Friday. So it means that there's sort of cracks in the Schumer armor. I think the Schumer shutdown is likely to end sometime this week. But I can tell you that if the story that we've been basically hearing from moderates that, look, we just can't do it in front of the No Kings rally, if that ends up not being true, then I think that the White House is going to have to look very closely, along with Russ Vought, at stronger measures that we could take to bring them to the table.
So there would be negotiations about what to do. We're running out of time before November 1st. So would be negotiations about what to do with the pandemic super subsidies for Obamacare?
Well, that again is an issue for the Senate. But the Democrats passed that law. It was in an emergency for COVID, and they ended it now because it was such an expensive law. And so it's the Democrats' policy. It's the Democrats' shutdown, and it's the Schumer shutdown. And really, the Senate needs to figure it out.
But it affects real people and people in red states. And I mean, we're subsidizing healthcare for a lot of, but like it or not, that's just the position we're in. So there are certain people that either wouldn't have health care or where the premiums would go up so much. And not to say that it's not Obamacare's fault, because there's a lot of flaws, but you see something where there would be some fixes put in to get Republicans to agree to do that?
Again, that's up to the Senate to negotiate. But if you look at the expiring subsidies, the vast majority of people, certainly low-income people, aren't affected at all. It's just that the policy was expanded to people up to 4 times the poverty level, and so you get people who have much higher incomes than were intended to be protected by Medicaid, and they gave them basically get a free card as well back during COVID. And I think that some scrutiny about that is something that in the course of ordinary Senate business, I would expect senators should debate that. But this is about keeping the government open. Remember, the Democrats got 13 continuing resolutions that were clean when Joe Biden was there, which means that Republicans understood their constitutional duty to keep the government open time after time after time. People say, oh, the Democrats voted for CR 13 times, but it's actually the Republicans voted for it too, because they understand that the job of the senator is to be the voice of moderation in Washington, as opposed to what Senator Schumer's doing, frankly, where he's the exact opposite.
Is anybody talking to anybody, Kevin? Because every news report, every person we talk to makes it sound like there is not.
No, absolutely, especially like within the Senate, everybody's talking to everybody.
But does that extend to the White House? Does this extend beyond that? It doesn't sound like,
yes.
Like last week, Schumer and Thune were saying that they hadn't had conversations.
Well, everybody in the White House has conversations with senators every day, is all I can say. And but in the end, it's the position of the White House that the president believes that the Senate needs to work this out.
Hey, Kevin, do you think that, given some of the events in the credit market, there's some new proposals to raise FDIC to like, I don't know, $10 million or something? The Journal takes issue with that, says it wouldn't be for all banks. Like, I guess it'd be for some of the small, not the money center banks, given what happened with Silicon Valley Bank shares and others. But the Journal says 250 is fine for 99% of the depositors at these institutions. And this just would increase the moral hazard of banks not minding their P's and Q's if they had even more FDIC coverage. What do you think we ought to do?
Well, I could say that we looked at what was going on last week with the stress about banks and some defaults. I spoke at length with a large group of CEOs at the end of last week to see what they thought, especially big bank CEOs who have, and some small bank CEOs as well.
Good morning.
That there's not a heightened level of
crazy move on Go. I am stuck short and almost blown up my account, but it's okay.
And the strength of the fiscal situation in the U.S. Joe, do you realize that if you extrapolate what we've done this year, that the
I need 331, 326, 302.
Relative to last
Long
year,
way to go.
That $600 billion drop explains why 10-year treasuries are going down, not a weak economy. If you go back to the Fed's preferred measure, the Lauback elasticity of interest rates with respect to the deficit, that's it's about 0.5 or 0.6 of the drop of the 10-year should be coming from the big reduce in the deficit from our very fiscally responsible policies. Well, what that does is it makes it so that there's more private capital for the rest of the world, because the government is not taking away all the capital in the economy. And so it should make the financial sector much stronger.
I saw something last week that
Yeah, 40 minutes to
when
open.
You take everything into account,
I hope we dump Go at open, because this is crazy move. Almost 3% up.
report I'm talking about?
No,
And Go was red last night too.
You know the good ones. Okay, so you're sticking $600 billion So is that take into account tariff revenue, or that's not even taken into account?
All we have to do is look at what's happened this year since February. The deficit over the same period last year is down $350 billion. If you just extrapolate the difference between last year and this year, you get up to about
Order filled.
Yeah, right. Well, that actually generally helps with revenue as well. That's right.
Yeah, because you get some tax revenue. What about China? I think the president said
Order submitted.
Well, I got out some of the gold position. Not all, but got out most of it.
That the idea that 0.1% of value in these rare earth metals is subject to some type of export action from China. That was a real shot across the bow. What did that represent from China? Are we not doing what we promised we'd do in some of the negotiations where we thought we had the framework for a deal? What really caused that, do you think?
Right. Well, we were surprised by China's action, but we've got the best team in the world negotiating with the Chinese this week, plus President Xi and President Trump. But they've got a very close friendship. So our expectation is that Secretary Bessent is going to land this plane, and he's got meetings this week that I think will help clear up some misunderstandings. That's what I'm hoping.
Kevin, where do you think the U.S. economy is now? We're going to get the CPI number on Friday. Do you have numbers that we haven't seen yet, or things that you're kind of relying on with the government shutdown affecting a lot of the data flow?
Yeah, one of the things that happens at the White House, and you have to be careful the way you speak about it, is
Order
that if you call up a CEO and say, how's it
Order
going,
filled.
including banks,
submitted.
credit card companies, and so on, then they'll give you an honest read. And basically, I think throughout, everybody thinks that the momentum of the third quarter is continuing. There's nothing that's moving in the opposite direction. And so, yeah, I think that we're very solidly confident that the momentum that you see in the second and third quarter is going to continue as we move forward.
Do you get more from the CEOs than maybe the average person would get from the conference calls? Because we've heard from a lot of these CEOs with earnings recently.
Jeez, look at go. Wow.
People will make available confidential data to us once we promise not to disclose and so on, yes.
Tariffs Kevin, I can't find $600 billion. I got it for fiscal 2025.
I'll send you an email, Joe. My guys just read it. It was 570.
1.775 trillion, down from 1.816 trillion. That's only $41 billion. How do you get the?
No, it's down. So if you're going over the calendar year, then for this calendar year, it's already down 350 billion.
Okay, this was fiscal. Yeah. This was
right. So that's the mistake you made. But the thing is, the fiscal year numbers.
Mistakes.
No, I'll just say, but don't forget the fiscal year numbers are blown up by the first quarter of this year, which was a Joe Biden quarter where he was throwing money out the window. And so that's the thing that's the difference. It shows like how much money he wasted to compare the two numbers, frankly.
And then there is some, and the tariffs are taken into some of that is offset by some tariff income as well, right?
Yeah, the tariff income is part of the story, a big part of the story.
Part of the story. Okay. Where do we want to go? So many things to talk to you about, Kevin. I guess a question that Andrew brought up earlier from I don't know whether you'll mind if I mention a Jason Furman piece, but he says the entire positive parts of the economy are due to AI right now. If you back AI out, we're actually at best just treading water because of tariffs and
no, Project X still messed up, so don't trade on there.
And he said tariffs and immigration, not having. He said the uncertainty of the 12 million illegals that are living here are causing a slowdown in the economy or something. He was Democrat, obviously, Kaplan. But
Look, Jason's a good guy and a friend of mine. The thing is that I haven't seen his analysis, but I can tell you if you look at the second or third quarter of this year, then consumption growth explains a big chunk of GDP growth, which is close to 4%. But the first quarter, which is what we inherited for Joe Biden, was actually a really bad quarter. And so if he's basically saying what happened this year and then looking at the first quarter and averaging it into the second and third, and saying that's the Trump effect, then once again, just like with the deficit numbers we were talking about, what he's doing, he's taking really junky numbers that we inherited from Biden and trying to use those to confuse people about what's going on. I mean, right now, if you look at GDP now for the third quarter, it's like a little bit under 4%, and the consumption contribution for ordinary folks, how much their consumption is going up because they feel optimistic and have money in their pockets, is like 2.3. And so maybe I'm doing it in my head, maybe about 60% of the growth of GDP in the third quarter is consumption. And consumption it's not all AI. It's not all AI. But we're really pleased to have an AI boom. And if you look at the capital spending, that for capital spending, you know, a big share of that is like these data centers and everything. And so that you can definitely see in the data. But don't forget, capital spending is just a small fraction of GDP. And what really matters at the end is the consumer. And the consumer is not consuming like crazy because of AI.
They're talking about the Clinton economy. Well, if you take out technology and the internet and, you know,
take out everything that's positive, you end up with a negative. Oh my
Order
goodness.
filled.
I don't think Go's gonna dump.
You know, you all are able
Order
to
submitted.
get more information because you can call up CEOs
Way
and
too
ask
strong
them how
today.
things are going. If you heard bad news, if people said, wow, this is really starting to get to be a problem, what would you do with it?
Oh, you know, it's my job to come on this show and talk to you about what the macro economy is doing and to give you my best guess, you know, every day. And I don't think you guys have ever seen me dodge a question. I don't think. You can go back and try to find one. But my view is that it helps everybody in the White House and everybody in markets if we do the best we can to figure out what's going on and then speak the truth about it. And as you recall, during COVID, when I was on the air, we had some pretty negative weeks. We had a minus 32% quarter, and we were very straight up about it all the way through. But right now, the numbers are great.
Order
so
filled.
Besant's going to meet with Vice Premier.
Order
I
submitted.
think, and then does the president's meeting with
Order filled.
President Xi, does it depend on how this goes, or is that on, or you can't really say for sure?
I haven't gotten a Monday morning readout on where we are on that. I apologize.
But you didn't think that might be a good idea to get that before you came on, Hasan? I mean,
Order
you didn't think
submitted.
no. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to be? Have you gotten the nod on Fed chair yet?
I've got the best job in the world right now.
All right.
You know that.
Thanks. Squawk Box returns. Squawk Box.
Rather than get rich quick, I believe in get rich slow. The high yield cash account at Public actually had higher rates than anything else I was able to find online.
Order
I don't want to be
submitted.
losing sleep over having made risky investments. I needed something stable that could really give me long-term financial
Order
benefits.
filled.
I know my money's working hard for me, and I know I can access it anytime I need it.
Order submitted. Order submitted. Order filled.
Cody, I wear a lot of different hats. Today I'm a firefighter. I'm also a police officer, and
Order
at the end of the day,
submitted.
I'm a Tractor Supply team member.
Tractor Supply's Hometown Heroes program honors all who serve.
Order
and that
submitted.
Makes me really proud.
When veterans come in,
Order
thank you for your
filled.
service. I appreciate everything you did.
From all of us out here to all our hometown heroes, for your service, for your patriotism, thank you.
When I started Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses, I didn't know how to turn all this fancy prettiness into a classy-looking logo. But GoDaddy Aero does, with its magical AI powers. It not only creates it, it slaps that sweet thing everywhere.
Goldman Sachs Active ETF GPIX consistently seeks to deliver monthly income without sacrificing capital growth. Active ETFs from Goldman Sachs. Not just active, relentless.
Earnings season on CNBC takes you inside the numbers. And when the CEOs have a big announcement, they come here first. Order filled. Earnings season. Special coverage all this month on CNBC.
Ready to break down math. I started posting math lessons on TikTok. What is that? I went from a class of 30 to teaching millions. Now it's parents, teachers, all finding new ways to connect with math.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Order submitted.
Sorry about that. We'd like to try the monster menu.
The monster menu at BK
Order
is
order
$5
cancel.
for
Order
families.
filled. Order filled.
Nice drop.
A real Texas shade tree stands the test of time. Founded in Texas in 2001, Jexa Energy was built to do the same.
44.
Still here.
Order submitted.
Still strong. Still growing. With plans to fit your home, your Texas life, chapter after chapter. We're Texans serving Texans, chosen by over 1.6 million homes since 2001. Make the switch to Jexa Energy today.
Smooth and scary on Go.
Order
Monday morning.
submitted.
Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with Jim Cramer, back from out west. David Faber here at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Got some risk on today, as Hassett just now suggests the government shutdown might end this week. Earnings definitely pick up. Big industrials on deck. 10-year still just below 4%, as we'll get CPI on Friday. Our roadmap begins with Apple boosting the Dow following some strong iPhone 17 numbers in the U.S. and China. The best smartphone growth since the pandemic.
Plus, we're keeping an eye on the rare earth stocks. They continue to rally as the U.S. continues to pursue production of the critical minerals outside of China. And we're also monitoring Amazon. This follows a global AWS outage. Global outage. Took down major websites all over the world. Hence, global.
Let's get to the markets after the best week for stocks since August. Although today, Jim, Journal takes a look at what's leading for the month, and it's a lot of defensive stuff.
Well, look,
We got 30 minutes left.
That's called a rotation. I can't believe that we could have this market that just, you know, we go through all these different stocks, then we like burn out on the banks because of a couple of subpar banks, and you know, people calling it tricolor. It's tricolor.
It's tricolor.
Tricolor.
Yes.
Tricolor. It's like Versand.
Like the salad, tricolore. Yeah.
Versant. Okay. So anyway, you get these situations, and then what comes full circle? Well, let's pick a Mag 7 or Mag, you know, Fantastic 10 or whatever might then, right? Just got going.
Terrific 10.
Yeah, Terrific 10. Let's go back to Apple. I mean, it's just like, okay, let's rotate the ones not up for the year. This getting its group back. We've been saying that 17 is unbelievable since it started, even before it started. Now everyone's catching up. David, the 17, it's a long cycle. Don't use the term super cycle because that jinxes it.
It's just a long cycle?
It's a long cycle.
Which means what? Yeah. No.
Well, it means good earnings when they report. That's what it means.
Right.
Better than expected.
Mm-hmm.
These are
it's big.
These are numbers out of Counterpoint. This is in the first 10 days. The 17 beats the 16 by about 14%.
Well, how could they not think that? You've got the lighter than ever Hershey bar one. Then you have this like one with the camera. I mean, I was in some pumpkin picking selfie this weekend. I was not left out by, you know, Eddie, David, you can like go like this and you can put like a football team in it.
Right.
And it'll not screw up. Don't nod, there's a podcast.
Okay, Jim, gotcha. Understood.
Thank you.
You can do all sorts of things in taking photos, I guess is the point.
I think that it's remarkable. I think people from the beginning underestimated it because they felt that Apple had lost its mojo. And here we go with Rights just saying Apple's on a mission to silence its critics. You know how many critics there are? They're going to be, this is like a super mission.
No, it's true. Well, yeah, I can use Sora to create all sorts of things that never happened at all.
Sora's running out of gas already.
And Q going for high day.
AI, that is where the largest criticism starts to pile up for Apple.
His goal is dropping a little bit.
Saying, you know, bring it on. Who cares? They'll be ready in a couple months. They don't want it. They want Siri to be perfect.
Yeah, Evercore goes tactical outperform Apple today. Loop goes from 226 to 315.
315. I mean, that's NVIDIA-like, for heaven's sake.
Well, they were below 226 is below where it is.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm just saying that it's like that's a kind of put a stake in the ground.
Right.
I mean, I know you probably think there's this not news, but this is really important.
What's the this?
Order
Apple
canceled.
Doing much better than expected. Apple's been a dog. Okay, it's been a dog of a stock. It's kept back the Magnificent Seven. Now you're going to see Amazon's going to keep it back because you couldn't get on between 11:30 and 3.
Yeah, those are the two names that have not been positive for the year.
Oh, Amazon's been terrible.
Yeah. You don't see most annual gains for Amazon are at least in the double digits.
No, this has been
Over the last decade.
marvelous for Amazon. People have negative things to say about Amazon Web Services, and then suddenly you didn't know that.
Yeah, they had a significant outage. I think much of it seems to have been resolved at this point.
Right, but it happened.
It did occur, yes.
Maybe I need Google Cloud. Maybe I need GCS.
It's also reflective of how large a share Amazon Web Services has and how many things it does power.
Right. Now, I'm in favor of Amazon Web Services, but I thought you would just throw in some gratuitous negative statement about how they're not doing well versus everybody else. Like, you know, throw in some Microsoft gratuitous statement.
We have detailed many times the fact that the growth rate of Amazon Web Services is not that of some of the competitors, namely from Microsoft or even
And you
Alphabet.
asked about training.
And questions about whether it can reignite in terms of, by the way, still has a very significant growth rate.
Yeah, I would say. I think it's going from 18-19 to 21-22.
Right, that's the
and
question.
this gets in the way of the narrative. Oh, there's some companies. They're all minor. Ooh, well, ow.
Not really.
Ow, Intragame. Ooh, Roku.
No, it just shows how significant they are.
Prime, Fortnite, Snap. That's a lot.
Lyft, McDonald's, T-Mobile. Yeah, no, there's a lot of companies that rely, at least in some way, on part on their cloud services at Amazon.
What is that? Outage. What did it say? I tried to buy something. It sent me to waste markets.
It may be a good strategy not to have an LLM, as Amazon does not, right? Maybe that's the way to go, because all they seem to do right now is rack up enormous amounts of losses. What are you thinking there, partner? I'm
thinking that if Amazon, the stock snaps back today, it may be a sign that the long, horrible slide could be running to its conclusion.
Why? This is a one-off event that has nothing to do with
Order
the
submitted.
fundamentals of the company. This is not addressing some of those questions and/or concerns. It's nothing to do with it. It's just an outage. It happens.
Meantime, Jim, what do you make of this piece in the Journal talking about trouble lurking beneath record levels? As we said, for the month, regional banks, you point out, oil, not good. Home builders, not good.
Oil down big could be the savior of Trump. I do think we have to watch cattle, believe it or not, and coffee, because those are up huge and they're part of our staples. Cattle, if we do buy
Argentinian beef,
that would be unbelievable, because cattle's up on a spike like you wouldn't believe.
Oh my
It did have
God.
a reversal
Stupid
on
goat.
Friday that would indicate that maybe cattle could plunge. Cattle would be really great for the American people. I don't see the rot. I see the opposite. I see incredible weakness where we need the Fed to cut, and that's in the small, medium-sized bit. Small, medium-sized, but their weakness is they don't have a lot of loans because nobody wants to expand. This is from my Federal Reserve panel where we went over this, and it's not from bad loans. The bad loans, I think, and David, you may disagree with me, but the bad loans have a kind of an undertone of fraud to them.
The ones that we've been discussing?
Yes.
Well, yeah, First Brands and Tricolor certainly do. And then what we were talking about
Order
in terms of
submitted.
Zions and Western Alliance, in terms of that also seemingly
But they
may
seem
have
to be
been
Western Alliance and
related to fraud.
Zions have not distinguished themselves as being top-notch.
No, they're not necessarily the best underwriters.
No.
They
Order
certainly were under a
submitted.
lot of pressure during the mini bank crisis of 2023. All that said, are we past it in general?
Well, I think that American Express was one of the best quarters I've ever seen. Steve Squeri put up some numbers. Now, listen, if you're going to do defaults, you're going to default on American Express. No one's defaulting. No, you can't really leave home without it.
Well, they're a big piece over the weekend looking at the race among credit card issuers to cater to high income, high earners.
Jeez, I mean, I'm watching these Sapphire ads, and I said, this must be an ad for Temu or Shein. Right. Because those ads, they didn't have anything to do with credit cards. I know that much.
Order
Was
submitted.
that Jamie? Bunch of cockroaches?
Yes, JP Morgan is the issuer of those said credit cards, which are competing at the higher end with the likes of Amex's
Order
Platinum
submitted.
card,
And you go to the
the annual
Sapphire,
fee of
have
which
you
I think is now $895 a year.
Yeah, it's a fortune. During your expensive trip to Vegas, did you stop at the airport at the Sapphire?
I did not. No.
Well,
I did not stop at any lounges.
can't even get it. It's so crowded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
I knew you'd go for it.
Well, it's Yogi Berra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last time you guys were
Order
doing it.
submitted.
Last time, who was good?
Mets.
Mets. Okay, thank you.
Look, I just want to take the last minute out and talk about what it's like to just be the worst team ever. 6 minutes.
Where are you going now? What are you doing?
The Jets?
You're gonna, you're gonna
that
pile
Giant-
on here about New York sports?
I went in to get Chipotle, and I missed a Giant touchdown, and then I missed a Bronco touchdown. Sit up. They caught up.
Journal with a great piece today on Denver versus the Giants. There have been 26 games this season that have changed leads in the last 2 minutes. That's the most in NFL history.
Well, that's why, there's intra-game betting, which is unbelievable for... Those stocks are not doing well, I know. unbelievable draft picks. But I think that whatever it is, the numbers are unbelievable for football. And we sit here and we just, linear is so not dead. I mean, geez, the numbers are just fabulous. They got all these great matchups.
A lot of lead changes.
Yeah, lead changes. That's the thing I was thinking of. But I just think...
Not a lot of football to watch here in the New York area if you root for either one of the franchises.
Well, but Disney, geez, there was a positive piece about Disney.
Yep.
What is that about? You never see that.
Yep. Meantime, rare earth stocks are up sharply once again as the standoff continues between the U.S. and China over Beijing's export controls. White House taking some steps to boost its stockpile of critical minerals as a solution to the rare earth curbs. Jim, looks like CLF's going to try to play in this space as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a real company. But look, we have William Blair saying we got UAMY. They love Neocorp. They love American Resources. They U.S. Rare Earth. These things are all like, unless, I got to tell you, unless Trump buys a stake in each one, you want to sell these. You really do. You want to.
Why?
I don't.
Why?
Because why?
Yeah, why?
There's U.S. antimony. It's up 532%. Okay, and they're making a bid for some Australian rare earth. It's 6 shares to take for one. That sounds like very 2000, where they started merging. Remember, because they knew that their stocks were too high. This Neocorp is up 432. American Resources up 296. Only U.S. rare earth has lagged. It's only up 141. That's lagged.
Well, there's clearly a commitment by the U.S. government to try to resuscitate this industry, which, interesting journal piece today, back in the early 90s was a real industry to a certain extent. The Chinese over the last 30 years have completely wiped it out and taken control of the rare earths around.
Just buy MP Materials. That's a real company. Latinsky is
But there's no doubt that there's national security involved. We can see that right now in terms of what the Chinese are doing and how it's...
Parabolic moves. Are you encouraging someone to go in?
No, I'm not encouraging anything. I just asked you why you say to sell them. That's all. And I just wanted a simple explanation.
Move. I can't say that we're early. Do you think you're early when a stock's up 432% for the year, like Neocorp? Do you think you're early?
Depends.
Depends. That's what you need.
It doesn't seem likely, but it depends.
Assemblist, your friend over at JP Morgan, last week, China may have more leverage than the White House appreciates.
That was a great piece.
Yep.
I'm going fishing with him. We'll find out everything.
Few industries in China rely heavily on exports to the U.S. And meantime, we know what their share is.
That piece was really, I mean, look, I love Michael, and I read that piece, and I was thinking, even though China GDP is not great, what leverage they really have.
It's almost 5%. We'd like that.
4.8% is what the number they put up on GDP. They obviously have a lot of issues in the property sector. They still have yet to truly get the consumer over there spending to the extent that they would like, or many others would like. It's an export-led economy, even more so than it used to be.
And they're not using us as much.
No,
not
but
a lot of soy imported.
Zero.
Yes.
Zero.
Yeah.
First
in
time
September.
How many years?
7 years.
Incredible.
First time in 7 years, China's imported no soybeans. They're taking them obviously from Brazil.
I know. It's Brazil's time.
Is it Brazil's time?
Look, I spoke to Anna Boutine, the CEO of Banco Santander.
Yes.
They're crushing it in Brazil. Crushing it. Also Mexico, which, by the way, has a huge number of rare earths. But do we bring them in? No.
Well, they have rare earths that could be mined.
Well, but what are these other
guys? It takes a while to both mine them and then create the magnets, doesn't it? That's not like something that happens overnight.
What did Assemblist say? Taking a mine to full production in this country's 15, 20 years?
It isn't done overnight. It's not overnight. Look, we have to get it. We have to get them to stop. Cliffs is up. They got rare. They're trying to go with the rare earth. They have the leverage, is what I'm saying. They have the cards, as the president might say. But the president was very adamant when he was filmed this morning. Don't play that game. He's playing a new game, a la Van Morrison and Brown Eyed Girl.
Take a look at the pre-market. We're going to get to some of the big names posting earnings as we work our way through the week, including Netflix, Tesla, GE, GM, Intel, 3M. Who's that actually ringing the bell today? More squawk in the street in a minute.
Hey, it looks like going in 3 minutes trying to curve down, so I hope that's true. We got 15 minutes left. Give us a dip. Big dip. Big dip.
Welcome to the Now Way to Network. They switched to Juniper's AI native network. And And now everyone's so productive, they're operating at a higher gear. That's the now way to network at work, with real AI, putting you in the fast lane.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
If you have $100,000
Yeah,
or more
Friday's
life insurance,
CPI.
you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies, or call 1-800-523-6900. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Only the ServiceNow platform connects every corner of your business, putting AI agents to work for people.
Like secret agents?
No, more like autonomous minions that you control.
To do what?
Well, Jim's agents resolve simple customer issues, and Patty's agents flag network problems.
Proactively?
Yep.
I'm loving my agents. Wait, do you all have agents?
Oh, yeah. And on the ServiceNow platform, everyone's agents work together so everything works better.
Could I have agents?
Maybe.
My first job was working at a small newspaper in small town Texas, and it's true what they say, all politics is local, and that is true whether you are covering a city council or Congress. One of the things I love about working for CNBC is that we really are looking for those critical stories that are going to move the markets and have a real tangible impact. For me, ambition is about looking ahead. Democracy doesn't work without accurate information. Capitalism doesn't work without accurate information.
A Chewy order is on the way for Jaws, who never lets go of what he loves. At least not until Dad gets on Chewy and gets him something new to love. Delivered fast. So Jaws can always live his best life. One mouthful at a time. For low prices and fast shipping, for life with pets, there's Chewy.
To throw the best tailgates in Texas, you need the highest quality beef and HEB certified meat cutters like me.
And me. We hand cut and grind fresh beef 7 days a week.
High quality beef and custom cuts. No one does tailgating like HEB.
Introducing Verts. Swipe for news and highlights. Now available on the ESPN app.
At the moment, we are 100% out of China. And so China is 0% of, we went from
That's
95%
all-time high on
market share to
NQ. Let me
0%.
see. They were close to all-time high too.
And so I can't imagine any thinking that that's a good idea.
NQ is 394, so yeah, about 200 more points. It's getting there.
Caused America to lose one of the largest markets in the world to 0%. But anyhow, in all of our forecasts, if there are any shareholders out there, all of our forecasts, we're assuming zero for China. If anything happens in China, which I hope it will, it'll be a bonus.
That was NVIDIA's Jensen Huang in a recent conversation with Citadel talking about the company's presence in China. Jim, he continues to take on the hawks.
Yeah, look, the China hawks are. I thought that they didn't have the cars. I thought that Jensen at one point was very clear that the president believed that he's right. David, it seems like the globalists are once again out.
Meaning what, Jim? That we're back to what, against free trade?
Yes, and back to jingoists versus India.
Right.
And telling other countries what to do. And
Yep, 11 minutes.
This may be a gambit for China, but it doesn't seem to be.
NQ is overbought on the 3 minutes, so who knows? We might get a dip and rip later.
They have chips.
No, they're able to make chips, not to the anywhere near
wizard?
the capability of NVIDIA's latest chips. But as you move to inference more than training models, it's not completely clear that you need the highest end chips. Always helps, but they're very expensive. Your friends at NVIDIA have 80% margins for a reason. They make everything incredibly
Hey,
expensive
Daddy.
for everybody in the ecosystem.
They are my friends.
Yes,
Oh,
they
you're
are.
not trading? Are you done with everything? Congrats on your Tick payout.
I am.
Hopefully your ride is working.
Okay.
Or inference, same thing, right?
No, but I'm just saying, like, you can talk to it. It's smarter than you can replace a huge number of people.
Oh, Project X is down, yeah.
That you don't have to worry about.
You gotta go to
Good piece in
Traderday,
the
man.
Washington
It's
Post
better.
today about op-ed piece about how historically these things have bred many jobs.
It depends on which side you fall, yes. The optimists would say ultimately every technology change has resulted, maybe over some period of dislocation and many more jobs being created. Pessimists would say when you get to the point where you're creating, where you're artificial general intelligence, the likes of you're talking about that exceeds
Come
human
on,
intelligence,
go. Come on
you have no
down.
idea. And I would just simply fall back on the premise that nobody knows anything about what's going to happen.
I don't know why I went against the bot. Bot was long go at 42.74, so it's a big time.
But I interpret as meaning that when you have an auditor, when you have a third to fourth year lawyer, if it's right, see, it's got to be right. The law firms I've dealt with, and I've called everyone, they just see this is not accurate enough yet. What happens if it is accurate?
Well, all right, so then more jobs are going to be created?
No.
We got
Initially,
9
no,
minutes.
But maybe not going to have lawyers go to be electricians, but we're going to need more electricians. We're going to need more people who.
It's interesting.
Order
Meantime,
canceled.
TechCrunch did a check on
Order
ChatGPT
submitted.
consumer growth. Here's a look at what's happened since April, Jim. I mean, that's a little curious.
That is curious.
It is a little curious. Is that competition? Is that kind of, yeah, it's interesting to see
Also, I
that.
think that it's
This is a company that has $1 trillion worth of commitments over the next, let's call it 8 to 10 years.
This is the Achilles heel of the whole darn thing. This and the Oracle downgrade that we got, which was all,
That's on the credit. That's on credit. That was a credit
but I'm saying
research
the two of
downgrade.
them, the doppelgangers. I mean, they're just out there trying to say, listen, don't worry about it. Ally vendor finance.
Oh, this is probably the more important part of the story. This is the market right there, man. I mean, come on.
No, I mean,
the
whether
entire AI
it could be
ecosystem.
I talked to Sarah Fryer last week. She's the CFO. I mean, it's very bullish.
Well, their revenues are going like this.
Well,
but right now, their costs are going like this too.
Chart was kind of flatline.
That was just usage, right?
And that's consumer. That's not enterprise.
Consumer.
It's just how they
global
do.
dates for ChatGPT mobile app.
Revenue.
It's downloads. It's things like that. But
look at that. That's
not the way you want it to go.
It was going like this.
I like that squiggly line. Very nice.
It's flatlining.
We'll get Kramer's Mad Dash countdown to the opening bell. Take one more look here at the pre-market as futures are solid. Don't go anywhere.
This is Jess, Peloton instructor, educator, game changer. She needs her money to work as hard as she does. That's why she uses U.S. Bank Smartly Checking and Savings, which does exactly that, helping her track her
So
spending
cold
and
today.
grow her money. Together, we'll achieve more than any of us could alone. You got this, Jess.
We got this.
That's the power of Jess, and this is the power of us.
In any business, you ride the line between
Alright,
numbers
go. Come on down, baby.
What's right for
That's
the business,
7 minutes. Let's go.
what's best for everyone who depends on it. So
I hope you win. It's just a race. It's all luck.
while creating future opportunities. It takes
Can't rig
balance.
anything. Everything's luck.
CLA, CPAs, consultants, and wealth advisors will get you there.
What are you doing up there?
Oh, I'm just posting the number of visitors to the Homes.com network this month. It's become the go-to home shopping site.
Got another 14,000.
What?
Gotta go back up.
Homes.com.
What up,
the place to find a
ISIS?
place.
Meet
ISIS.
Grace. She has Demodex blepharitis.
I
She
need-
wakes up with
I
itchy,
need go to
crusty
dump.
eyelids
I'm bag
and
holding.
fever. Now meet the Demodex mites. They wake up thriving, but Grace
No,
is
it's a bag.
overly
I almost blow my
Grace,
pro.
Ask your doctor about Xdemvy, a prescription that targets
I'm
and
always
kills
bag
the mites.
holding. It's just,
Don't
it's
touch
normal.
the tip of the bottle to your eye or any surface to minimize contamination. Wait 15 minutes before inserting contact lenses. The most common side effects are stinging and burning in 1 out of 10 patients. Break the cycle.
Yeah, he's bad
Kill
luck.
the mites.
Hi,
I'm Cody. I wear a lot of different hats.
But gold pumped like
Today I'm a
crazy. It dumped
firefighter.
hard yesterday
I'm
too. I
also a
was
police
making
officer,
money,
and at the end
got
of
some
the day, I'm a
payouts
Track
set, and
team
then
member.
this morning it just ran up 3%.
Hometown Heroes program honors
Crazy.
all who serve, and that makes me really proud.
When veterans come in, it's thank you for your service. I appreciate everything you did.
From all of us out here to all our hometown heroes, for your service, for your patriotism.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mary's Bun Shop. Not too boring.
Yeah, I went against the bot too. The bot long go like 42.74, so I was stupid.
Naming a business? Hard. Swagging it out? Easy. Move your business forward with Custom Ink.
Weeknights. There's been so much
Gambit.
money spent on artificial intelligence by the 7
5 minutes, gonna be a while. Oh, I gotta see if my bulenox gonna be okay, because CPI is Friday. I don't think it renewed yet. It renew on 10/29. Okay, so next week I'm good. I'm good for CPI.
We'll learn more about the chip
This is usually up around this time.
Intel and to a lesser extent IBM. Don't forget the opening bells in a few moments. You can always catch us anytime, anywhere. Just listen to and follow the Squawk on the Street Opening Bell podcast.
Earnings season on CNBC takes you inside.
It looks like it's gonna be a hard day.
CEOs have a big announcement. They come here first.
It's always up around this time.
Special coverage all this month on CNBC.
I got something coming up.
I guess a lot of people not trading today because they're on Project X.
Get ready to think fast and eat faster at Raising Cane's. With hand-battered and cooked-to-order chicken fingers. So grab a box combo and catch.
My name's Chad Powers.
Any Fed today? Oh yeah, some people said Traderday had issue too, but I'm trading on Ninja Trader and it's fine. I didn't. To the desktop, yeah. Two minutes, boys, 2 minutes.
Get this exceptional offer on select Cadillac models.
Yeah, I don't have any data today.
Visit your local Cadillac
Focus
dealer
CPI
today.
Friday, huh? Yeah. Oh, TV's talking about it, so if Squawkbox saying it's gonna show up Friday, I think it's gonna have the data.
With fast and secure payment, card readers you can rely on, and one place to manage it all.
Oh yeah, you're right, because they're saying that this week the shutdown should be over, supposed to be over, but who knows?
Even before the markets open, I'm planning my moves that I make throughout the day. When you're actively trading, the fees really start to add up, and that eats directly
Oh,
into your
they
potential
wait.
returns.
I don't get it. Still didn't approve my payout
Platform that offers rebates on your
on
option
TPT
trades,
Pro
which
since
help
Friday.
offset those costs. For me, when it comes to investing, timing is
Yeah, I
everything,
traded. Milk told me not to
public
trade, but I
allows
was,
me to get a step ahead.
I don't know. I got itchy. I thought it was a good setup, and I got caught so bad.
Nuveen invests with the foresight and vision to anticipate the
I
needs of
I trade everything on my pro. Everything's down like a grand. Even my eval, I was close to passing, so yeah, I fucked up.
for what's just around the corner. Because after 125
Yeah, I'm
years
gonna
of
go. But good thing's MCG.
Nuveen knows your ultimate stakeholder is tomorrow. Nuveen, invest like the future is
Yeah.
watching.
15 minutes still got more
Now is
upside.
brought to you by Nuveen. Invest like the future is watching.
All right, gonna get started with trading here a little more than a minute from now. Let's squeeze in a mad dash.
3 minutes over bot, so I hope it dipped for a little bit for me to get out.
Lorenzo Gonzalez saying some really amazing things about the new trade
I mean, gold's crazy. It can dump 50 points quickly too lately, so who knows?
And it's because of the Trump administration. They're enforcing the trade environment, forcing them so you can't dump here. And David, get this. Right out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's moved better than NQ lately too.
Beyond steelmaking, the renewed importance of rare earth has driven driven us to refocus on the potential opportunity in our upstream mining assets. Bodies and tailing bases, David, and they think they may have something. One in Michigan and one in Minnesota. Those are mines. They're already mining.
So they're saying the exciting things there. Stock hasn't done much over the last 3 years. They were the cover bid for U.S. Steel. Fought tooth and nail to get that deal rejected.
Enjoy, buddy.
Failed to do so.
Failed. We do know that steel in America, not really clear. We do have a big problem with Ford with that aluminum factory.
Yeah, they pop. I'm hoping gold will drop.
Here's a look at the opening bell in the CNBC real-time exchange. And the big board, as we said, it's 3M. But it's actually their Young Scientist Challenge winner, 8th grader Kevin Tang.
There's nothing wrong with TPT. Lately, we've been so delayed now, so I hope it don't have money issue, man.
Order filled.
Where are we gonna go if TPT has money issue? That's our bread and butter.
Without bad news, you're going to want to go up because I think that the bad news we're seeing just makes the Fed rate cut even bigger, and that's really what drives a lot of things other than earnings. Now, look, one of the things I really disliked about Jamie Dimon's quest here, I know you won't like that, but you look at Bank of America. I mean, the bad loans. American Express, the bad loans. You look at Wells Fargo, the bad loans. I mean, they're sitting.
You know what's funny? Milk is actually really smart. I should have listened. Oh, that shit. I don't listen. I always get fucked.
No, that doesn't work for me.
Well, we're going to get a better look. We'll see here what AutoNation says this week.
I know. I don't know why I touched that. I'm so stupid. I touched my TPT Pro when it's not approved yet since Friday. Now I'm down 1,000.
I think if you decide to say, hey, listen, cockroach, if you use the cockroach metaphor.
I don't know why it's so delayed lately. You know what I mean?
Did say Friday he expects cockroaches to continue to affect stocks and bonds. KRE volume, by the way.
And I try to cash out the money right now, and it keeps getting declined, saying that error processing. Like, oh my god, I don't have money issue, please.
You want to do something?
No, go ahead. Continue. I'm doing some weird hand signals.
Yeah.
Got a lot going on here.
My Travel Trust has position in Capital One. Now they report tomorrow.
Okay, right? Talk to me.
Yeah.
Capital One.
I mean, if they need an investor, I'll invest money in there.
That is the worst. Well, that has the borrowers.
See, I'm trying to withdraw. I keep saying, please check your input data.
What's concerning the market last week? Those are completely two separate things. We're talking about corporate borrowers and fraud.
Oh, gold. Oh, not gold. NQ pump hard. I just noticed that. I'm just looking at gold. And it's good. A lot of people like the long.
Cockroaches, that's one thing. This is the consumer, right?
Right. Well, but I think
Capital One.
I think that the consumer. I'm saying the consumer's healthier. People realize this because the consumer has jobs. If you have jobs, that's good. If you have fraud, that's bad. Fraud bad. Jobs good.
Right, but
Come on, just drop 30 more points,
but
man.
the fraud we're
30
talking about had
fucking more
nothing
points.
to do with. No, they're separate stories entirely.
Until I knew all about First Brands.
You did.
Order canceled.
Okay, I didn't think so. And nobody knew. In fact, the
I don't want to do with NQ though.
$2.3 billion.
I didn't know Second Brands. I mean, First Brands became the most important issue. Suddenly, like this thing, I mean, it was, I don't want to say it's not a pyramid scheme. It's just, I have bought their wipers.
Order filled.
It's a company that
Order
obviously
submitted.
was deeply troubled. We can't let that
Order
control
canceled.
When you say jobs good, I mean, Waller last week suggested
It's a pass another Tradeday account, so that's good.
Well, I think yes, I don't, they're good enough.
Not lately. I've been trying to get over the buffer.
Perhaps for cars.
Yeah, I almost blew one. I had like 300 DD, but it's now up to 600, so 1600. So I'm getting caught up.
Order submitted.
To make PAL swing into action.
I need to start getting payouts from them.
You're saying that there's still time for the Fed cuts to be benign.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes. And David, I don't know what you're working on because there's a lot of stuff going on in
It's a
your
nice pump
private
on AQ
world
now.
there. But
My private little world,
yeah,
yes.
but I continue to think that as long as you have rate cuts,
Yeah, bot's almost up
really hard,
200 points on
filled.
AQ.
this market,
Order
even
submitted.
as there's rolling worries in credit. Although, by the way, the regionals
Order
that I follow,
canceled.
Okay, I'm done with my funded futures.
Yeah, no, we had Huntington
Get
Bank
this
on last
payout
week.
soon.
Talked to the CEO.
But it's pretty positive.
Was. Speaking of positive, AMD up yet again. NVIDIA shares are not. And the overall S&P starts the morning where it left off on Friday, namely up and up, rather nicely.
Order canceled.
With another, let's call it more than a 0.5% gain again in the first 4 minutes of trading here this morning.
Order submitted.
That's determinate.
No.
There was a piece that cut price target for Meta. Meta's up. That's the kind of robust market I'm talking about.
Right. Apple, as we highlighted at the top of the show, is by far the best performer, up some 2.5% now on these. On this
3 minutes on NQ is in the overbought area, so who knows. But 15 minutes got more upside, so maybe a little dip and it'll go back up.
What happened with Renee Haas last week and the glasses? Renee did feel that
Order
maybe
submitted.
I
I still can't trade a Ninja Trader,
say
huh?
that maybe there was more cloud than he thought.
Can't trade a Ninja Trader tournament.
So
well, we're referencing a back and forth you and I had where you had he had his Ray-Ban glasses
Order
on, and then we
filled.
discussed whether they connect to the cloud.
And you said that there'll be
But over time, there's going to be more and more computing
Wow,
in the
that's
glasses
bomb.
itself. But you do need to
Order
obviously have a
submitted.
connection to be able to process a lot of different things that you're seeing through the glasses with
not
the
dropping enough.
cloud.
I just did feel like I had to correct the kind of narrative.
You were fine. You were fine.
It was not my finest moment.
I think my Traderway is messing up. I don't see my account.
Yeah, we got to move on. We got today's
Order
news.
canceled.
Ninja Trader now.
It happens.
Order submitted.
Are we ready? All right, good. Guys, no, I wanted to continue on our conversation about credit because I think it's an important one. Look at
It is. No, it is. No, it's just.
And in particular, there's a note this morning from Citi that seems to be getting a lot of attention. It's focused on the same area. By the way, an area that Harvey Schwartz weighed in on this weekend. He runs Carlyle, and he said, the recent volatility in credit markets is, quote, on his worry list. That was Harvey Schwartz. This note this morning that perhaps, and you can see the stocks are doing okay, some of the ones, is pretty bold.
Dang,
in its
NQ.
statements, simply
Almost
saying
all-time high
concerns
soon.
brewing in the leveraged
Wow.
loan market and the
Makes me
public-facing
want to short on my cash account.
business development corporations. The first cracks in the
I wait
structure
to
beginning to show.
400 and I'll short.
Deceptively low, they say, due to distressed exchanges that mask corporate stress.
Good thing I'm not
key
touching
bankruptcies
NQ. I would have
for such
died
as
already
First
shorting
Brands
it.
are inflicting real pain. And then you've also got a massive
Come on,
increase
go.
in payment in kind loans. In other
NQ's
words,
pumping.
you just
Go
get
to
more
your
of the
dump.
same, so you have more indebtedness, but you're not actually getting paid back. Or you have a higher, even more credit from the company that you're willing to take. The dramatic rise in payment in kind indicates a growing number of borrowers are unable to make cash interest payments, instead choosing to pay with additional debt. This practice, while delaying immediate defaults, fundamentally weakens credit quality of the underlying loans, inflates reported earnings, masking deeper financial distress. And again, the focus of this note is on the BDCs. The market for high-yield corporate debt, they say, has been artificially inflated by insatiable demand from two key sources: large institutional investors such as Japanese banks and a flood of retail capital, Jim.
Baby bear, I got killed. I got killed shorting gold.
Which has seen its assets
That motherfucker ran up 3% since it was red this morning.
It's great. No, he's real smart.
It's okay. It was fun last night. Got some payout locked in, so there's other accounts are mostly evals.
Seems to be getting some attention, but
thinking of the chart on
But
Friday.
I'm not dead yet. I just bag holding.
A chart of the number of
But I did blow the
leveraged
Lucid
ETFs.
though.
Have you
The
seen
Lucid
that
blew
chart?
up quick.
It's like a gold chart.
I hated it in how to make money in any market.
Oh, I was trying to pass in one day, so I did the big goal and it blew so quick.
Created to make money for some people. And
Dude, even with 3 MGC, I'm still can be down like 1200. So imagine it gets 2 GC. That's crazy quick.
that's the whole point. I used to develop those.
Yeah, you need like a freaking fish account to play big gold. Millions. That's how Fish is making his 100,000, 200,000 profit. That's yeah. Man, gold's going back up.
And what the banks have created. That's where the weakness is. Harvey Schwartz knows.
Yeah. That gold bot's pretty good for swing
Sure, he
trading.
knows many things.
I'm just saying that the real problem in the market is the stuff they've created, because it doesn't do any good. And when you speak with younger people, oh my God, they want this stuff. They think that this stuff is like Buffett. I'm investing in Warren Buffett.
Technical
By
is going
doing this
down.
leverage loan. I mean, they don't know anything.
All that that said, weakness, whether it's weakness in the BDCs or we've talked about the alternative asset.
Short it. I'm short NQ right now at 198.
Over 3.5%. It will continue
Hopefully
to be a
goes
concern,
down.
something we
Yeah,
discussed,
gold.
but it doesn't seem to be having an impact on the
Gold
broader
got more
market.
upside in 15 minutes. NQ is overbought on the 3 minutes, but more upside in 15 minutes. So yeah, it's hard to trade.
I mean, there is a prevalence.
This is this morning gold 42.93. I think was my last check, Jim. This would be 10 straight weeks up. We haven't had that many consecutive weekly gains since 1980.
Again, look, I have to rely on what the great gold miners say. Sean Boyd from American Eagle, Agnico Eagle, I'm sorry, who I think is the best, said, listen, Jim, it's, because I was saying, hey, look, you can buy it at Costco. He said, Jim, it's all China. Now, China, I don't blame Chinese for wanting to buy a lot of gold. The government's buying it, so why shouldn't individuals buy it? Look at that. That's who's buying it. I think they're selling what's left of their treasury holdings.
TPT, I can't withdraw
I don't know
my
what
cash.
the numbers are in the Chinese in terms of their holdings, U.S. Treasuries.
But how do you like the way we absorbed that?
I don't know, it keeps saying error.
We still have low
Weird.
yield.
It's true.
It's pretty interesting.
Oh, maybe because AWS is down. I might. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow.
We're starving longer and
Order filled.
Oh no, the payout's still pending. But I'm talking about, I just want to cash the money out just in case, you know, they go down. I left money in there. Yeah, yeah.
And I think that some of that is because
I'm getting scared.
building a home is too high. Some people
Same
feel
steel tariffs
Yeah.
that was talking about.
I know.
Order submitted.
I have OCD. I just leave it until it hit 1,000, then I cash it out. I think, no, I better cash it out now.
Other than oil and gas, and that just hasn't happened.
Yeah. I told him not to, because, you know, anything happened to him, he's fucked.
At sea, you're talking more than 1 million. That's an all-time high. And gas prices, Jim. I think Gas Buddy said we have one station at $1.99 cash. That would be the first in a couple of years.
The president has taken no credit for that, which is really rather crazy.
Order canceled.
Great one for him.
Let's go back to
But he wants drill, baby, drill.
Well, drill, baby, drill in 2016 collapsed oil. Drill, baby.
Order
this time,
submitted.
The American drillers have held off, but they're still doing.
I know, but OPEC's hiking production.
Hiking production. Look at, and then the president really put the screws on India.
On who?
India.
Yes.
With the tariffs.
Yes, the tariffs seem to be related to their imports of Russian oil, correct? Yeah.
Just ex-Apple.
Oh, it doesn't start until 6 days from now.
Apple, right, Apple
10/27,
there, which
okay.
is a lot of the production for the U.S.
And they're trying to move some to Vietnam, move the glass to Kentucky, but the Chinese, I mean, I would have thought that it would be not a good idea.
I was short at 215 on NQ. Other short I got out.
Oh, you mean actually buying
Made
an
some
Apple
little
product
money.
in China?
Yes.
Doesn't appear to be the case.
Isn't that incredible?
No, I mean, a lot more competition there than there had been years ago.
Apple's a huge importer.
Yeah. In China.
Yes.
Still, because remember, it's what they make there is for the rest of the world. Now they've moved a lot of the U.S. production to India, where they don't have a tariff.
Right. Well, they were very smart
even
about
though
that.
everybody else does.
They're very smart about that. Look, all that matters is the tariffs.
At least tomorrow's payday for
I
bulenox.
think that's what is behind Mike Wilson's note today at Morgan Stanley. Need to see more
I wonder what Jay-Z's trading.
de-escalation, stability, and EPS revisions breadth.
I don't
declaring
mind.
an all clear from a near-term correction if he says 10 to 15.
The only thing that I think he may be wrong on is the timing of this is when you really should go into November. Got to buy. You know, he's got to
I
make.
think I can win the Tradeday tournaments. There's only 2 funding. They're only up like 1,000. So I get my funded tomorrow. I'm gonna just go ham on gold.
Hedge funds have to go buy the winners, and they're not going to be thinking about first
Win
brands.
5,000 cash and 5,000 in giveaways.
Or the cockroach theory, or
Where's Morgan
Yeah.
Stanley on trade? Morgan Stanley's got a bunch of notes out today.
Pretty money.
About that. Well, the Jonas note, right,
That was
about the
incoherent.
robots.
I love him. It was incoherent. It was an incoherent piece.
Use that money to download
It was
Tesla.
like, you know, Faulkner on drugs.
Ooh, that's hard enough. Faulkner not on drugs. Alcohol was his preferred. Oh no, maybe it was.
I know.
Jim, do you have a policy? Yes. Where are the commas? Where are
She
the
did on
Or
what day
this,
was it?
this
Saturday.
That
And
Jim is
no, she
upset.
wanted to, but
It's incoherent.
I got mad.
And I love
it does get to some weird places.
Yeah, she sent me the clip. Oh my god, in Dallas, downtown, it was huge.
That's a little bit far off from me.
Like all these losers protesting, like get a life, go work.
Market up, Oracle down again after a very bad day on Friday. After what
That's one time I was in Chicago working, when I was living there. They protested and blocked the whole freaking highway. I was so mad because I was so late.
JP note, it's their credit research.
Yeah, took a ride up because I got stuck in the traffic with the protesters.
Limited visibility into its financing strategy. They downgrade Oracle to a neutral.
And that's short on NQ.
The debt side, not the stock, from an overweight. They simply say they've offered limited clarity on their leverage and investment grade commitments, reinforcing the need for greater transparency around its balance sheet strategy and long-term capital allocation priorities.
Now,
but this gets to the larger question that we're going to be entertaining for
Give me
weeks, months, and
215
years to come,
short.
which is the enormous amounts of capital needed by everybody in the AI ecosystem and its ultimate use, and whether or not those who are then going to use that capital. For example, OpenAI has a commitment of $60 billion a year to Oracle for Oracle to build. Will OpenAI make enough money to be able to meet that commitment, if not exceed it, and reward its own private shareholders right now, who some of whom are in there at a $500 billion market, or at least value, not market value. There is no market.
You're right. Now,
And so,
one of the things that I mentioned, I interviewed someone who's fantastic, was completely overlooked.
Thank you.
Patty Poppy, who is the amazing CEO of Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E.
Okay.
She said, Carl, no problem with power. Didn't understand what the deal was. There's plenty of power.
Come on, go. Get down, baby. Let me get out.
She has excess power. Hamid Moghadam, okay, from Prologis.
316, 312, 305, 302, 295.
Patty in particular.
Those are all accounts.
Which is why the nuclear thing is just ridiculous at this point.
Don't judge me.
Diablo Canyon, which they never shut down, supplies huge. Oh my, they're almost entirely non.
I was like, it's already up 2%. No way it's gonna go, and it went up 3%.
Man, and every week we have announcements of gigawatts being potentially built.
It's a big mistake.
What's a big mistake?
All this gigawatt building, because you don't need it. You just need to balance the load more, and that she would explain it to these companies. But these hey, by the way, Hamid would say the same thing. If the companies would come to them, they would realize, you don't necessarily have to put up something that's like the Isle of
I
Manhattan.
think these data center companies and/or those who are building them are in touch with the power companies regularly. I mean, it dictates everything in terms of where you site something, in terms of obviously if you have. That's why all these Bitcoin miners are so valuable. It's because they have the contracts in place to take the power.
Well, that's they're switching to Bitcoin. Those places are switching. A lot of them are switching to
data center companies.
Yeah, data center.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying that what Patty Poppy told me, that they have more than enough to be able to build a bunch of them in California.
Yeah.
I mean, California is supposed to be strapped entirely.
As we're gold were way better after hours and pre-market, but it sucks doing open now.
She was very critical.
Order filled.
Order filled.
The people who think that they're going to have to build all these things.
Short on
now, I was
NQ.
joking with her about how Rancho Seco was decommissioned a long time ago. That's the one that I slept out.
Order filled.
And she said,
Order
no, that's
filled.
not going to be reopened. But Diablo Canyon, they extended it 20 years. It was supposed to close. It's been in business for 40
Order
years.
submitted.
So I think that all this build out of nuclear, not going
Really,
to
just
happen.
based on what she told you, even though I don't fully understand it.
Order submitted.
Hamid Moghadam from Prologis kind of
said the same thing.
He's got solar on them.
Well, it's getting built, Jim. Question is how it's going to get reallocated if you don't need it.
All the data centers are getting built, so you're saying they don't need the new power being built?
The data centers, they don't need the power. And that's the big...
That it's available already.
It's available. You just have to know how to site better. What?
That sounds bizarre to me.
Fishy?
Well,
it's like,
okay, so
I hadn't thought of that. It's like I haven't thought of that. I'm in this business, but I haven't. Oh, I just got to cite it better.
No,
Order filled.
Order filled.
I have some questions for Poppy.
Okay, yes, we'll bring her on. I don't care.
Order filled.
Order filled.
As we watch the fixed income markets as well, again, not a ton
Order
of eco
submitted.
data with the shutdown now in day 20, but we are going to get CPI
Damn it, go.
later in the week. LEI in a few minutes. 10 years still below 4.
Order filled.
Order
Below
filled.
20. All sectors green. Stay with us.
Yeah.
Order
Order
submitted.
rejected.
I would think gold go down because the shutdown's ending.
Order canceled.
NQI day.
Order submitted.
The Bond Report is brought to you by PIMCO, a global leader in active fixed income.
Okay, here is your paperwork if you want to review it and make sure everything's in order.
These factory floor mats, really as good as WeatherTech.
You know, laser measure.
No.
Nothing comes even close to laser-measured WeatherTech floor liners.
Order
they offer
submitted.
the ultimate protection, front, back, and even up the sides. For a full line of premium American-made products, order at WT.com. Nothing protects like WeatherTech.
At Public, the high-yield cash account's a no-brainer. I know my money's working hard for me, and I know I can access it anytime I need it. It's very simple. Better rates mean faster growth, and that's exactly what I need.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Indian coins from the early 1900s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins
Order
are as bright and
submitted.
shiny as the day they were struck in the early 1900s. With extremely limited availability, call now. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-888-517-8568 and you are guaranteed a $10 Indian coin minted by the U.S. Mint between 1907 and 1932. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Indian coins from the 1900s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold
Order
in your hand.
filled. Order filled.
Order filled. 1-888-517-8568.
Order submitted.
Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's bonus package, a $55 value, free with every order. Call 1-888-517-8568 now to secure
Me, yeah,
your
I've been
$10
shorting. I'm
gold
short at
Indian
32
coins
now
dated
and then
from the early
29.
1900s before they sell out. That's 1-888-517-8568.
Ever
I'm
worried
really
that you're
short.
drinking too much? Take back
I just
control
hate long when
with
it's close to
L'Oreal
all-time
provides
high.
access
Just
to medication
stupid bear
proven to help.
mode.
A daily pill to drink less.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Drinking altogether.
Yeah, rugged.
Text CNBC to 710-710 to learn
Order
more.
filled.
Filled.
$20 more and I'll hit
For
my
the first time
target on
ever,
another
staking rewards
funded
are available through a
NFU.
US-listed ETF.
Order submitted.
Introducing SSK, the Rex Osprey Soul plus staking ETF. Solana exposure with staking.
Oh, Gambit, did you get that MFU with a 3,000 add-on for free?
Solana, staked on your behalf.
You should look into that, man. It's cheap.
From Rex Osprey. Not suitable for all investors. Investors should carefully review the fund's prospectus for objectives, risk, charges, and expenses. Visit rexshares.com to obtain it and read carefully before investing. Distributed by Foresight Fund Services.
Overtime's about understanding what just happened in the markets that day and preparing for tomorrow.
I think that my
I'm looking to talk to
Fundedfuture was a good
sophisticated
deal.
investors, beginning investors. I'm always learning.
Closing bell overtime, weekdays 4 Eastern, and streaming on CNBC Plus.
Tomorrow, active passive again. Another year's gone by. Jeff Smith, as always, being my guest. Keith Meister, Lauren Taylor Wolf.
Come on,
rounding
go.
out,
What the hell are you
what should be
doing?
interesting discussions about the world of activism.
Yeah.
A handful of particular names, of course, that each of them is focused on as well.
Well, you playing Go now? Wait, are you on your pro yet or no? Or you just got a flip still? Ah.
You are not one thing. You are all the
Nice.
things. Constantly growing and changing into the next version of you. Desert Diamonds celebrate all that
320 is
you
holding
are
on Go.
and all
I
that
need
you're
that to
still
drop.
becoming. In hues as warm and alive
Order
as the desert
filled.
Order
itself.
filled.
Order
Sunlit
submitted.
whites, radiant
I don't know.
champagnes,
It's short at 294.
natural
295.
colors that
It just
reflect all
happened.
shades.
Order
Order
filled.
filled.
I was like, holy shit.
When you're actively
By the
trading,
time
the
Noob told me to
fees
cut it,
really
I was like,
start to
I
add
have
up.
600 buffer. There's no
Public
point.
is the only platform that offers rebates on your option trades, which help offset those costs.
I have
It's a
800
simple
now.
way to help me keep more of what I
I
earn.
can't average down anymore
Why should
because
you
I'm
trade
stuck.
options rather than stocks? Because they offer higher returns, are cost effective.
No, it's gonna blow. If it blow, it blows. I wanna do big accounts now.
It's not an option.com. It's not an option.com.
I can never. I think it's 100 days, over 100 days. Every time I get over 100 days, I'll end up blowing it. Let me see how many days it is.
If I can see it and understand it quickly, anyone can. That's how
Yeah, shut up. It's too late now. 102 days.
No,
Yeah.
no BDO.
The NBA tips off
Alright, I'm down with my Funded Futures. Let me see what else I can trade.
Thunder,
and streaming on Peacock.
I got something coming up.
This fall,
228.
get ready to think fast and eat faster at Raising Cane's. With hand-battered and cooked-to-order chicken fingers.
Order submitted.
So grab a box combo and catch.
My name's Chad Powers.
Order filled.
Order filled.
I bet people are so mad with Project X.
Order submitted.
They still can't trade. Still down, yeah. That's why Wizard and me loves not touching anything.
Order canceled.
Order filled.
I thought they did, but I'm guessing not. Or they have like a backup servers. I don't know. I actually messaged Box, no reply. Because usually Box would text me or DM me for like a payout on TPT.
Order filled.
Kind of
Visit
worried.
your local Cadillac dealer today.
Yeah, and I asked Google about Box and really stupid nonsense shit.
Because of the major AWS outage, I figured, okay, this is going to take a day off from the incessant
I don't
buying
know.
of
This whole Box is okay.
It didn't. When we talk about those ETFs, when we talk about all the different, that I would say everything that's contrary to investing, a lot of it's based there, and it's
Where's
because of
Mugo?
younger people, and I think they offer such a great IRA plan. They've done everything they can to be as responsible as possible.
Hamster?
But
Order
people
submitted.
just go there and they buy. This is where all the rare earth is bought and the nuke is bought. And
Hey,
I just hope
let it
these people
die.
all do okay, because I think that as the insider selling picks up, and there will be, I don't want those people to be blown away the way they were in 2000. So this is something to watch.
Yeah,
Those
fuck your bull flag.
ETFs are disastrous.
What is Tesla doing?
There's no
Oh damn,
reason for
never
them.
mind.
Government looked
I'll
the
shut
other
up.
way. I remember when the SEC, they had very big comment section. I weighed in.
No, I'm scared of
seriously
Tesla. It took
saying,
my money so many times.
This is a disgrace. Well, it is a disgrace. So far, so good. Do not overstay your welcome. Take profits
I
in
gotta go
every
pee.
single one of these. Take profits in rare earth. Take profits in nuke. Take profits in flying cars. Okay.
The 5X Oracle ETF.
Just sell them. Just sell them. Sell them. Please take some profits. Just don't do this to yourself. But I'm trying
to you. Yeah.
I'm trying to get people to take profits. They won't take profits. They won't think they're so darn smart. When you talk to them like I do when I travel, they think, well, Jim, like you don't even understand, Jim, about rare earths. I said, well, here's what I understand about rare earth. March of 2000. Nuclear. March of 2000.
Jim, it's good advice. We're listening closely, even though we're holding 6,700 here. Don't go anywhere.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you
Hell
get
yeah,
there.
let's go.
It's time for a wealth management experience. as
Hope you're not long, Gambit.
It's time for Corient.
If there's one thing I've learned over 3 decades of
Give me
investing,
16 so I can get out one more bags.
what you don't own matters just as much as what you do. That's why I've always been drawn to the idea of upgrading your portfolio, replacing overhyped or outdated names with stronger, lesser-known opportunities. It's the thinking behind a strategy I've come to rely on, one I call
Yeah, that 320 is holding.
Buy That. I'm Eric Fry,
Third
and as
time
a
now.
stock analyst, author, and futurist, I've shown my followers how to move out of big-name, well-loved stocks that are on the verge of melting down and into ones with the potential to deliver serious upside. It's the strategy that helped
Come
me
on, baby,
win
drop that 320.
portfolio
There we
purpose investing competition, beating out some of the most respected names on Wall Street and outperforming the market by more than tenfold. And it's the same kind of thinking that's helped me build a long-term track record, including 41 recommendations that have gone on to return 1,000% or more. I put together a brand
we
new
go.
free presentation where I
Come on,
walk
baby.
through some of my latest
That's some
sell this,
fast
buy that
movement.
pair trades. These
Order
calls are
filled.
Yeah, out of one bag.
But if you're open
8 more to go. 8 more to go.
different lens, here's a quick preview of what you'll see I'm recommending today when you visit the website right here on your screen. Sell Amazon. Buy a little-known e-commerce company that's much like buying Amazon in 2005. Sell
Order
Bank of
canceled.
America. Buy an online fintech platform
Order
that's capturing
submitted.
an entirely new generation of banking customers. Sell Tesla. Buy a little-known robotics company that's already miles ahead of Tesla in the AI robotics race.
Order
Each of these
filled.
trade
Order
ideas
filled. Long
comes with the full
spy.
name, ticker, and analysis on our website at no cost.
Yeah.
Or simply open the camera on your phone and point it at the QR code you see on your screen right now. When you do, I've got a total of 7 free sell this, buy that recommendations, including
Yeah, I hope
names,
AQ
tickers,
pumps
and
so
analysis
gold can keep
waiting for you at
dumping.
no cost.
Never miss a moment.
My hope is that there is enough open trade so that the movement of trade and goods can continue in a reasonably balanced way.
I don't think technology substitutes humans, but they augment humans. We probably need fewer future hires.
There's a whole industry that still needs to be created in terms of the computational power available to
Order
power
filled.
the AI revolution.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Oh, come on, go.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm Sarah Eisen with Carl Quintanilla and David Faber. We are live for you as always at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Coming up this hour, as the S&P 500 comes off
I would
its best
never
week
show
since
go
August,
again if I can get
Lisanne
out.
Saunders from Charles Schwab lays out one part of the market that could be a great opportunity still going forward. Plus, why gold and stocks are partying together. Rockefeller's Ruchir Sharma breaks down the rare correlation and why he
Order
says it
filled.
could
Order
end
filled.
in an unpleasant
Order
surprise.
filled.
Order filled.
And Mark Cuban telling CNBC that the Trump administration deserves credit for
Are you
its
short
efforts to
something?
reduce drug prices. We've got his exclusive comments next. But
Nice.
first, guys, wanted to start with the data overnight from China because it was not so hot. Chinese GDP coming in at 4.8%, below
Order-
its 5%
order
target,
filled.
and
Order
also
filled.
the slowest level
Order
in about
submitted.
a year. Just shows some of the pressures that have been building on the Chinese economy, something that
Order
Treasury
submitted.
Secretary Scott Bessent actually said in an interview last
Order
week.
filled.
Order filled.
Stage
Some of
mark
their
300K,
motivation for why they're
100K,
acting tougher when it
rebound,
comes to
cut it,
the trade
take a
situation.
negative
Just to break it
200
down
only.
further, what you see is retail sales are weak. 3% was
Yeah,
less than
I was close to
expected.
passing. I was like
The
100 from
consumer's been
passing, but
sluggish
I'm going to
in
switch to
China. What's
MNQ.
strong? Industrial production. Their
can
export
make it
machine
back.
is still going and powering ahead, up 6.5%
My
on the year.
pro,
And we
not
saw in
saved yet.
export data last week that they're finding new markets outside the
Order
U.S. Exports
submitted.
are plunging to the U.S., but they're booming in
Might
places
cut it
like
soon.
Africa and the rest of Asia and even Europe. They've been higher. So that's what's keeping their economy. But the really weak number was actually fixed investment for China, which saw a drop. And that's problematic for the world's second biggest economy. So it gives you a little bit sense of what's going on there beneath the surface as we wonder about where these trade tensions lie at this point.
Yeah, we were just talking with Jim about the Semblus note from last week out of JP Morgan, where he looks at just how little China relies on the U.S. For their export markets now, and how much
Gold's
we
moving
still
a
rely
lot.
on them for rare earths. So that this discussion about leverage continues. In Semblus' words, China may have more leverage than the White House appreciates.
Well, they have leverage in the rare earths, but I did think it was really notable that there was news this morning from Xinhua, the state news agency, on that trade official getting fired. That was the trade official that, remember at our conference last week, Invest in America, Treasury Secretary Bessent, sort of unprompted when I asked him what was
Order
happening there
filled.
with
Order
the
filled.
rare earth restrictions, actually name-dropped him and called him unhinged. Listen to this.
The Chinese are trying to backfill the narrative, saying, well, the U.S. did A, B, and C, therefore we had to do D, and that's not true. There was a
Order filled.
Negative
person
282.
who was slightly unhinged here.
If it drops more, it's okay. At least I got out.
His name is
Order filled. Order
Yeah.
filled.
Order filled.
Order
is
submitted.
threatening, saying that
Order submitted.
China would unleash chaos on the global system if the U.S. went ahead with our docking fees for Chinese ships. And this is clearly something that they were planning all along. I think that things can de-escalate, that we don't want to have to escalate.
Well, good news, and perhaps the Treasury Secretary succeeded
yeah,
in
let
that
go and
report
go
that
back to
this
MNQ.
official, slightly unhinged one, is out now. So maybe things can proceed in a sort of more productive and constructive way when it comes to the U.S. and China. Maybe that's helping the situation today. And certainly I think the markets, David, have felt better about de-escalating ever since that Friday.
We still have 100% tariffs going into effect November 1st. At the same time, the president has said that's unsustainable. Jensen Wong pointing out he's sold out
75K TPT challenge too, but now I'm only down 500.
November 1st is
I'll still hold on that one.
Almost 2 weeks away. Right? So there's time to, like, the lines of communication are open. That's what we've heard. If it's low level, even as Treasury Secretary Bessent met with his counterpart last week.
Order canceled. It is November 1st, correct?
November 1st is what the president said.
They, for the first time in 7 years, they bought no soybeans whatsoever. So there are
something the president has called a hostile act. Yes.
Right.
So yes, I mean there are issues, but there is also communication, and I think the combination of those 100% tariffs not hurting us as much as they once would have, because a lot of the trade, as you said, between the U.S. and China has diminished. It's not gone. I mean, it certainly hurts retailers still and other companies that need stuff from China. But the fact that the communication is open and that we're less dependent, maybe that's why the market's been able to sort of get over the hump of worry when it comes to the worst case scenario on U.S.-China. Also, the Xi-Trump meeting appears to be scheduled toward the end of the month. I mean, it is scheduled according to Ambassador Greer, and we haven't heard otherwise since. So
canceled.
Encouraged by that as well.
Yeah, although we mentioned the Morgan Stanley note today out of Mike Wilson, he definitely wants to see more trade de-escalation before he can call the so-called all clear on a 10% correction from here.
People just want certainty, right?
Order filled.
They want to know.
Order filled.
And the fact that Trump himself said that 100% tariffs aren't sustainable gives you a little bit of certainty that maybe he's using it as leverage and as a negotiating tool.
Order filled.
As we push deeper into earnings season this week, joining us this morning is Lizanne Saunders, Chief Investment Strategist at Charles Schwab. Lizanne, great to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Carl. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to have a handful of earnings to work with beginning really tomorrow. How do you think, what's the weight going to be in terms of making
Order
sure
filled.
the bar gets hopped versus some of the trade stuff that Sarah just mentioned?
I think the bar is probably still set low enough.
Order
the
submitted.
difference, though, in this quarter relative to the past 2 quarters is in the lead into the start of earnings season, you did see an increase in positive revisions to the consensus. Probably still sufficiently low that at least in the aggregate, you probably will have either normal or better than expected beat rates and percent by which companies beat. But I do think that bar has been raised a little bit. And given some of the froth in certain segments of the market, any miss, I think, will probably be punished disproportionately relative to the rewards accruing to the gainers.
Yeah, we've already seen some early signs of that, even though only 10% of earnings are in.
Order filled.
Order filled.
You mentioned today, you mentioned
Order
earnings
submitted.
revisions, but earnings revisions breadth has kind of rolled over. The
Order
Journal today
submitted.
also looks at what's been leading for the month, and it's very defensive sectors like
Good thing
healthcare.
got out of gold. Holy
How
shit, it
worrisome
went
is
back
that,
up.
given sort of the headline numbers that
Yeah.
continue to look strong?
Well, not
So
terribly
scared, bro.
surprising given some of the concerns.
Maybe I was sure it would
posted
go
a
all-time
pickup in
high, but
volatility
I'm gonna go
based
back to
on,
MNQ.
Sort of AI bubble-related concerns, valuation-related concerns. More recently, of course, what's happened within the regional banks, and in those short bouts where you get a bit of
3 minutes on
consolidation
gold
and
is close
rotation
to
under
being
the surface, it
oversold,
tends to
so
accrue
it
to the
might bounce
benefit
again.
of defensive names. But those moves up tend to be
Yeah,
relatively
but
short-lived.
it's
I
hard
would
to
say,
tell.
Carl,
I
that
wouldn't
if you
long
had a
yet.
more sustainable shift in leadership toward defense, especially in the absence of
I don't know what to do on
government-issued
NQ.
economic data, that might be a bit
Sucker
of a
keep going
macro
up, it's
message
overbought too.
that sends a little bit of warning. So I would
Order
certainly pay
Order filled.
attention if those defensive areas continue to be the leaders within the market.
It's a long way
So
to get back to
what is
even.
the opportunity here within record
Order
record
submitted.
highs? Where do you spot a dislocation?
Well, I think you need to stay up in quality, look for stronger balance sheet companies, especially in this kind of environment, lower leverage companies. I think that's particularly important for people looking for opportunities down the cap spectrum. You know, within the Russell 2000, you've got more than 40% of the index is not profitable. And since the April 8th closing low, that cohort is up 53% versus only about 20% for the profitable component. So you're seeing speculation. You see it at the basket level with, quantum and drones up around 300% since the April 8th closing low. There's good news in that the speculative froth has gotten more concentrated in these sort of micro areas. And I think the way for your typical individual investor to navigate that, especially if you're looking for opportunities outside of those mega cap leadership names, is look for that higher quality profile. It could continue to lag if you stay in this sort of FOMO, YOLO, BTD kind of market environment. But I think it certainly would be more of a protection if you got any kind of consolidation period.
Meantime, Lizanne, mortgage apps down 3 straight weeks, even though we have seen yields come down. You think that changes?
Order filled.
Yeah, I think you need some movement, not just in terms of the
order filled. Order filled.
250 hits, so it's short now.
Sort of three-legged stool to housing affordability. Incomes, which for the most part are fairly decent, more so in nominal terms, less so in real terms. The mortgage rate has come down.
Order filled.
It's the stickiness of home prices because of the supply-demand imbalance.
Order filled.
That I think you need improvement in all 3 pillars of that affordability stool to see something meaningful in terms of improvement in the housing market.
What about earnings season? I mean, the fact that the market has basically gone almost straight up just over the last few months into an earnings season where expectations are high, do you think that companies will be able to deliver?
Well, it depends on the company. So yes, if you talk about the market at the index level, it's gone straight up since the April 8th closing low. The difference, though, is what's happened under the surface. In the last 6 months, you only have 23% of the
order filled
within the S&P that are outperforming the index itself. So you've had a lot of rotation under the surface. The average member within the S&P
what about the book map?
Has had a maximum drawdown of 15%. It's negative 35% in the case of the NASDAQ. So I think the fuller story of what's happening in the market.
That's why I keep shorting it at 50.
Under the surface of these cap-weighted indexes.
And therefore earnings will be better absorbed or don't have to clear as high of a bar?
Well, I think down outside of the mega cap areas, you probably have a reasonable expectations bar. I think most of the increase has been concentrated in those higher momentum mega cap names, where I think the possibility or the risk is there if you get any kind of negative release.
I know it came from what, 310 to 330.
Decent valuations are not as stretched.
So happy I got out. I'm still bagging one of them, 2 of them actually, because I want to try to hold on to it and get green on it, but now down.
Finally, just on consumer, we talked about.
Yeah, I think I'll cut it and go down to 310 again if it goes down.
The qualitative commentary from most of the banks has been about a
I got out most of it. The Pro and then the 100K
We're sort of
eval.
pairing that with what we think are the employment trends. To your earlier
Pretty
point,
doing.
I guess how much risk would there be?
We have options.
Even without data, the job market continues to fall, possibly further into negative territory, as Waller suggested last week.
Maybe it's the ultimate statement, but I think the health of the labor market is really key to the consumption side of things. When you look at consumption patterns in the post-pandemic period of time, early in that era, you could rely on that excess savings thesis to define why consumer spending stayed robust. But those metrics have moved down to more normal levels, and I think it's confidence in the labor market that holds the key. You not only picked up resilient consumer from the banks, you've heard that from the airlines too, but within that, they are talking about the bifurcations, the K-shaped nature of it. And in fact, the credit problems that we're starting to see, I think reflect what we're seeing way down the income spectrum into the subprime categories. You're seeing it in terms of delinquencies way down that kind of quality spectrum. So I think the K-shaped nature of this, that is something that will persist. And I think the fine-tooth comb is necessary in analyzing the data, much as I said about the fuller story of the market is told under the surfaces of the indexes.
Yeah, we're definitely hoping the equity markets can maintain the upper leg of that K. That's an important point, given how much of the economy relies on high income, high earners. Lizanne, thanks. Talk soon. Lizanne Saunders.
Thanks, Rob. Good to see you.
We are just over 30 minutes into the trading session. Here are three big movers we're watching right now. Loop Capital upgrading Apple to buy from hold, raising the price target there to $315 a share from $226, as those analysts get bullish on iPhone demand and pricing through 2027. Cleveland Cliffs popping after a top and bottom line beat, and new comments from executives that they're exploring ways to produce rare earth minerals from their iron ore deposits. Stocks up more than 17%. And a good morning for the chips as well, with Supermicro at the top of the S&P 500, and a number of the other names in the group
canceled.
also seeing a boost. No wonder Lorenzo of Cleveland Cliffs was so bullish on the administration's trade policies.
Nice draw.
So here's our roadmap for you for the rest of the hour. After the break, rare praise for the Trump administration from Mark Cuban. We'll hear from the billionaire about why he's giving the White House a thumbs up for its actions on drug prices.
Plus a golden opportunity or a big red flag for the markets. Rockefeller's Rashir Sharma tells us
It's going to high day.
Let's go up after earnings. We'll talk about what to expect from that report as the company rides the success of K-pop demon hunters as Squawk on the Street continues.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go back in. Okay, there we go. TBT payout words. Got my money. That might be just a
heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No.
But we have life insurance.
Oh no, the payout's still pending, but my wallet money's gone now, so I'm happy.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, SelectQuote
That wasn't
found
much.
John
It's just
a
$60.
$500,000 policy for
That can
only
deny it now because I'm
$29 a
under.
month, and his wife Anne a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month. Go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs
at a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop.
15 minutes on go. It's close to topping now. Got some more room.
Like this. Options often offer higher returns than stocks, cost less, and can reduce risk. Learn how in our new book. Get your free copy at itsnotanoption.com. Itsnotanoption.com.
CNBC's Delivering Alpha returns. A live event with exclusive access to the world's best investors. Get your tickets now at deliveringalpha.com.
We have concerns with lots of American companies that come on Squawk Box that do business with China.
You should be concerned with the companies that don't come on Squawk Box.
Squawk Box, weekdays 6 a.m. Eastern and streaming on CNBC.
Get this exceptional offer on select Cadillac models. Visit your local Cadillac dealer today.
To throw the best tailgates in Texas, you need the highest quality beef and HEB certified meat cutters like me.
And me. As experts in all things meat, we hand cut and grind fresh beef 7 days a
Are you
week.
green then?
Need a custom order for game day? We'll make the cut. We'll even tell you the best way to cook, season, and serve it up.
High quality beef and custom cuts. No one does tailgating like HEB. One more reason that?
At my HEB, here, everything's better.
Welcome back. Billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban out with some rare praise for the Trump administration surrounding its efforts to lower drug prices.
Ooh, baby bear, look at go. It's gonna get higher day. I might jump in a short again. I'm scared.
Health USA conference in Las Vegas.
Hey, David. Yeah, you know, Mark Cuban
I hate
has
gold.
really been on a mission to bring down drug prices. That's what Cost Plus is all about. And he feels that the Trump administration is really making a good start at trying to combat that with Most Favored Nation and with Trump RX. And in fact, he's all in when it comes to Trump RX right now.
We give
What?
them
Trump RX?
You know, they're going to be a referral site.
No
We're
way.
feeding them daily updates. Because with Cost Plus, as our volumes go up and our prices go down, we pass through those savings. And so it'll be great for us. We're really excited about it. I think it's a great thing. This administration completely different. I'm not saying I'm a Donald Trump fan now, but credit where credit is due. They are trying their best to reduce the cost.
Sarah won't be happy because Mark Cuban like Trump now.
Now, they know when I talk to them.
Yeah, because of the Trump RX. I'm gonna text her.
And what they're doing
I'm gonna try her now.
But it's just superficial, right? It's not going to change the game and change everybody's lives, right? But at least I give them credit for trying.
That's what he talked about. He said Trump RX is a good start, but that is about a cash market. And yes, you'll have Pfizer on there and you'll have AstraZeneca and others. But one of the things he would like to see, especially as they negotiate these issues during the shutdown for the extending the tax credits for Obamacare, is to add in a provision that would say when people pay cash price because they're not being covered for
Okay,
drugs,
so what do we do now on Go? It's about to hit off high day.
toward their deductible. Here's what he had to say.
Order canceled.
As part of these conversations we have on opening back up the government.
Order filled.
Holy shit, it did, and I just went short on 43.
Order submitted.
This is crazy. Okay, no more NQ. Let's go back to Go now.
Legislation that, hey, you know, anybody in this
Holy
state
shit, I'm about to blow to 50K.
send it to the insurance company and they have to apply
I
to
should've-
the deductible. Because
Yeah, I should have got out earlier.
Order submitted.
My fault.
There are a handful of states that have started to do
Yeah.
that now in Texas,
Crazy.
Tennessee, and
Order
Arkansas.
canceled.
Working on
NQ is
that.
not good
Other states
anymore.
are looking at it. He'd like to see that go nationwide because really for him, the deal is to bring down the costs that he says come from the
Order
pharmacy
filled.
benefit management system to make it more affordable for the patient when they go to that pharmacy counter.
Order submitted.
So, Bertha, doesn't the Trump RX then compete with what he's doing on cost plus drugs? I don't. How did he? Because he
Order
said it would
canceled.
benefit them and it would be very big for them.
Dr. Oz has said that he wants to bring all of these things together. Trump RX is essentially going to be a platform
Order
to refer
submitted.
people to the
Order filled.
direct-to-consumer providers, particularly from the drug makers. And
Wow.
he's also going to include GoodRx in there as well as
Order
Cost
submitted.
Plus. So for Cost Plus, he says if people are going there looking for lower priced drugs, that's going to raise their volumes. It's going to bring more
Order
people to them.
filled.
That's going to allow them to buy more drugs, produce more drugs. In some cases, some of the drugs and shortages that they're producing for hospitals, for examples. So he thinks that's going to really revive
Order
the market.
submitted.
But for a lot of us, paying out of pocket and cash and not having
There
it
you
go
go.
towards
Drop it,
your
baby. Drop it, go.
is tough. In essence, you're paying twice because you're paying insurance, but it's not going towards that deductible on your insurance.
Makes sense. So actually, this could supercharge his growth because it could bring a lot more volumes. Bertha,
That's
it's
Right,
really
just gone back
interesting.
up.
Yeah. I mean, interesting comments, especially from him, because he's been a big Trump critic, Democrat. And I noted, Bertha, that he said, I'm still not a full Donald Trump fan or something like that.
He certainly
Order
isn't.
filled.
Order filled.
But he's very encouraged by Dr. Oz and the others
Order
at the
submitted.
Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. He says, they really get it and they really want to bring down drug prices. And Dr.
Order
Oz has
canceled.
said he hopes by the end of 4 years that 95% of drugs in the
Order
U.S.
submitted.
will be more affordable for Americans. That is, a high bar to get to. But that is his goal. And, he moves very quickly on this. Last week with the IVF announcement, you had CVS and Cigna sign on to provide on Trump RX those IVF drugs so that people can find them there. But at the same time, they said that came about and came together in just a couple of days.
Yeah. And GLP-1's on deck. That was the tease from the president. Bertha, thank you. Bertha Coombs.
Yes.
Really great stuff. Snapchat, Disney Plus, Roblox, Verizon, and many other parts of the internet going dark this morning. What Amazon had to do with it after the break. Plus, Rockefeller chairman Ruchir Sharma with a new warning for investors Around this correlation between gold and stocks, he joins us to explain. And it's a big week for earnings. Netflix among the highlights tomorrow. We'll get you ready for that report, with shares up more than 30% this year. Stay with us.
My name is Oluseyi, and some of my favorite moments throughout my life are watching sports with my dad. Now I work at Comcast as part of the team that created our AI highlights technology, which uses AI to detect the major plays in a sports game.
Wow, my Ninja Trader
Giving
did.
millions
I
of
gotta
fans
restart.
like my dad and me new ways of catching up on their favorite sport.
We planned well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
You think those two
Order
have any
filled.
idea that they can sell their life insurance policy for cash? So they're basically sitting on a gold mine? I don't think they have a clue. That's crazy. Well, not everyone knows Coventry's helped thousands of people sell their policies for cash, even term policies. I can't believe they're just sitting up there. Sitting on all this cash.
If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you can sell all or part of it to Coventry, even a term policy, for cash or a combination of cash and coverage with
Order
no future
submitted.
premiums.
Someone needs to tell them that they're sitting on a gold mine and you have no idea. Hey guys!
Order filled.
Do you hear that?
I don't hear
Yeah.
anything anymore.
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-571-7900 or visit CoventryDirect.com.
Order filled.
Order filled.
Yep.
Order submitted.
They call me cool.
Order filled.
I'm short go.
Order canceled.
Order filled.
Order
Yeah,
filled.
Order filled.
That out. Yeah, I'm about green on 100K now.
At the Farmer's Dog, our fresh food
Order
plans
submitted.
help old dogs feel young again. Get 50% off your first box, only at thefarmersdog.com.
Seabits, your company started here?
Hello?
But look at you now. Your small team has become a not-so-small team. It's time for
Wow, look
Seabits,
at NQ.
accounting, advisory, insurance, and more.
Order filled.
Seabits, insights that impact.
Order
Start
submitted.
streaming. Go to cnbc.com/plus now.
CNBC's Changemakers 2026 list, spotlighting women who
Order
innovate,
filled.
lead boldly,
Order
and are
submitted.
transforming business. Do you know someone who is rewriting the future? Nominate them now at
Order submitted.
cnbc.com/changemakers.
Order canceled. Order submitted.
This major outage of Amazon
Order
Web
filled.
Services
Order
causing a number of high-profile websites to go dark this morning.
Gold
Although
was
shares
dropping.
are now in the green. Mackenzie
Dang,
Salas is
I
shedding
got
some
out too
light on what
early.
happened today. Morning, Mac.
Hey, good morning, Carl. So Amazon Web Services saying 10 minutes ago that there are significant API errors
Yeah,
and
gold was hard
connectivity
today.
issues across multiple servers in its US East 1
And gold
region.
should
We're
dump if
expecting an
NQ
update
was
on that
pumping
within
like
a
this.
half hour. Now, this outage first hit early this morning, knocking
Yeah.
dozens of companies offline, from government websites to crypto platforms and AI tools like Perplexity. AWS powers roughly a third of the cloud market, and the issue stemmed from a failure in its Northern Virginia data center, disrupting more than 70 services. Now, cyber experts say it wasn't a cyber attack, but it does highlight how fragile the internet's backbone has become, especially in the age of AI, where services like Anthropic rely on AWS to run their large language models in real time. Now, compared to last year's CrowdStrike meltdown, which was resolved quickly but left companies dealing with manual recovery for
Wow,
weeks, this was a
NQ.
different kind of failure. As one expert put it to me, CrowdStrike shut down the computers themselves while AWS shut down the services that those computers talk to. AWS's US East 1 region has been a recurring point of failure for them. It is the cloud's
Order
busiest,
canceled.
most interconnected zone. And when something breaks there, the ripple effects spread fast. Morgan Stanley called the incident not helpful to
Order
already fragile
submitted.
AWS sentiment. They expect Amazon to issue credits to customers. Investors will have this in mind when Amazon reports earnings next week. Remember, AWS growth has been lagging behind Azure and Google, and backlog now trails Microsoft and Oracle. Guys?
I guess one of the questions is, Mackenzie, if it has any kind of lasting impact in the minds of their clients, right? And
Order
causes
submitted.
them to switch competitively. That's what we were all asking during the CrowdStrike outage as well.
Well, notably, OpenAI has not been an AWS customer. Anthropic, we've seen them diversify into GCP and this multi-cloud strategy to avoid this kind of disruption. We heard from the Perplexity
Order
CEO
filled.
this morning,
100 from
attributing
all-time
all
high
of
on
the
AQ.
disruption that they've seen to this AWS outage, and it is
Order
a huge
submitted.
concern, especially in this generative AI era where these companies are hungry for compute, and they
Order
are
filled.
primarily getting it from these
I need
cloud
to go to
providers
pump again
while
so I
they
can
build
be
out all
short.
this infrastructure. Because all those OAI deals worth $1.5 trillion, it's not built yet, and it's not coming online for at least a year.
Mackenzie, thank you. Kenzie Sagalos in San Francisco. Time now for a CNBC News update, and for that we go to New Jersey, where Dom Chu joins us. Dom.
Good morning, David. An Israeli spokesperson says Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. They were expected to push for the second phase of the peace deal with Hamas to move forward. The meeting came after Israel launched a wave of deadly strikes yesterday, claiming Hamas militants had killed 2 of its soldiers. Hamas quickly denied responsibility for that attack. Israel
Order
also said
submitted.
Vice President J.D. Vance will visit this week and meet with Netanyahu. The Supreme Court is taking up a new gun rights case. The High Court agreed to decide whether a federal law that bars frequent users of illegal
Order
drugs
submitted.
from possessing a firearm violates the Second Amendment. And the Louvre said today it will remain closed as authorities investigate a daylight heist of historic jewels from the museum. Officials say thieves rode a basket lift up the Paris Museum's facade yesterday, forced a window open,
Elon's
and
getting
took
a
off
lot
with
of calls,
priceless
Apple
Napoleonic
calls too.
jewels. The incident took place about 30 minutes ahead of the museum opening, with visitors
Oh, you're
already
joining all those
inside.
calls?
So a
Yeah,
daring
scary.
daylight heist at the Louvre. I'll send things back over to you guys, Sarah.
Wasn't there a Netflix show about that? Wasn't that like a whole
Apple's
series?
all-time high right now.
Sounds like it.
Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, and 13.
No,
everything
there
like
was
that.
sell that?
no. It was a French show.
Who do you sell it to now? Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but who's going to buy that? How? It's got to be like one buy.
Really underground.
Yeah.
I don't know. The fact that they
Show
pulled
it
that
off
off
in
is
your
pretty
house.
Yeah, market only go up, Sean.
It was a really great show. And now I'm forgetting
Into
the
the
name.
rug,
No,
everybody.
No, not like the guy. Lupin. Yes, Lupin.
Oh, it's
Very
going
good
to. No,
show
no
on
rugged.
Netflix
Just wait.
that literally
We're
was
going to talk about
festival.
Netflix later in our show, by the way.
Yeah,
You know,
I
they're
know.
reporting earnings.
Yes, they're reporting earnings. And that was a few. That was
I'm
like
sure
a
it
few
ain't Q
quarters
anyway,
ago,
so
a few
keep
years ago,
going down.
actually. All right, Boeing notching a win on the regulatory front. Shares are gaining. What investors need to know next.
Yes, I'm up there. I told you that.
Sharma, fresh off a new op-ed, warning there could be an unpleasant surprise straight ahead for investors. Find out what that is after a break.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you.
Order
We
filled.
believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life
Order
you want
filled.
to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there.
Wife said
It's
Mark
time
Cuban's
for
a
wealth
sellout
management
since last
experience
week.
sophisticated as you are. It's time.
My wife texted me and said, yeah, he's a sellout to Mark Cuban.
Silver is at a 10-year high. Kootenai Silver boasts one of the largest resources owned by a junior
Order
company.
submitted.
With a new high-grade discovery in Mexico, the potential for growth and leverage to silver is significant. Kootenai Silver.
Investing. You buy low, sell high, jump
Yeah,
on
oh,
that
short
trend,
go.
ride the
Nice.
wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. You're not a child playing a game. This is grown-up business. The real thing. You know wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
Over 90% of cobalt used in batteries comes from China. Electra Battery Materials, awarded $20 million by the U.S. Department of Defense, is bringing the battery supply chain home, reducing dependence on China and revitalizing our industrial base. Electra Battery Materials.
Here on the internet, you can pretend to be anything.
Like a medical professional.
Or a skilled electrician.
Don't trust the unfiltered internet. Angie has 30 years of experience finding the best pros.
Angie, job's done well.
I heard some people saying they have issue logging in, so you might be right. Oh, your P&L's wrong? Oh, that's not
Your
good.
shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Sponsored jobs on Indeed are 2.5 times faster to first hire. Visit
What?
Indeed.com/hire.
Try logging out and logging back in.
Sorry about that. We'd like to try the monster menu.
The monster menu at BK is frightfully fun for families of all kinds.
You rule. To throw the best tailgates in Texas, we need the highest quality beef and HEB.
I mean, the valve's okay. That's the most important thing.
Order canceled.
And meat. As experts in all things meat, we hand cut and grind fresh beef 7 days a week.
Need a custom order for game day? We'll make the
Order
cut.
submitted.
We'll even tell you the best way
Order
to cook.
canceled.
It's not a go now. No more shorting. Go back to Anki.
No one does tailgating like ATB. One more reason that?
At my HEB,
Order
here,
submitted.
everything's better.
Both gold and stocks have been rallying together, but historically, they tend to move in opposite directions. Our next guest says the market may be getting the reason for the correlation wrong. Let's bring in Ruchir Sharma to discuss. Rockefeller International Chairman and Breakout Capital CIO. We've been asking this question, Ruchir, for a while, which is why gold and stocks and even the dollar lately have been moving hand in hand, because that doesn't always happen. So why do you think it is?
Yes, sir, that's correct. That stocks are partying like it's 1999 and gold is partying like it's 1979. And those two eras were so very different, with 1979 being associated with rampant inflation, geopolitical turmoil, in 1999 with the tech boom, which is what the AI boom, and also the relative calm of 1999. The only explanation that I get here is the fact that there's still massive amounts of liquidity sloshing around the system, and that's fueling momentum trades across different corners of the market. Because if you look at gold as well, I've been a bull on gold for the last few years, but my concern is that there's no good story that too much money cannot spoil.
Project X is down.
That the main demand for gold
Not
over
trade.
the last few months has shifted to ETF demand. When the gold bull market started in earnest around 3 years ago,
Giveaway set up.
following the sanctions that the US imposed on Russia, that was led by central bank buying. That central banks were diversifying their reserves out of the dollar.
Come on,
The
go.
last few
Keep
months
dropping,
has
baby.
really been a lot of ETF buying. In fact, the ETF flows into gold in the last quarter.
You did a good short.
Ever. So I think that what's going on here is there's still a lot of liquidity floating around the system. It comes from two sources. One is the legacy liquidity, which is still there after the pandemic, as I write in my article, that about more than $1.5 trillion in excess money is floating around in money market mutual funds 5 years after the massive liquidity infusion which took place there. And the second is the fact, yes, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off, but usually when there's a lot of liquidity, which I get that for an explanation, it finds
bounce
itself
back
to the
up.
riskier parts of the market, which it has. I mean, it's rallying at the same time as meme stocks and unprofitable stocks, as Linsanne Saunders was just telling us, and all sorts of corners, Bitcoin, more speculative corners of the market, not necessarily the one place people tend to go during flight to safety.
Even
and for
NQ is going
defense.
up. Wow.
That's exactly, so you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what's going on. That gold has now got caught up in this liquidity-driven speculative frenzy. So, and that's the point I make in the piece as well, which is that what happened is that next year, let's say, that if inflation resurfaces and by any chance the Fed is forced to
I think I have a short of
some
49
liquidity,
on my
then
Pro.
the problem is going to be that gold will no longer act as the hedge, because a lot of people who say they're buying gold say they're doing it because it'll be a hedge, that you can end up getting hurt in stocks, or the world is going to face much greater geopolitical turmoil or whatever negative reason you want to find, and you say that, hey, I'm going to buy some gold
Project X
to
still
hedge
down.
my portfolio against that risk. But my point is that gold's
But
parabolic
Lucid
increase that's
giveaways
taken place
on
in the last
YouTube
few
now
months
for
is
the
not being driven by
50K.
the traditional safe investors looking for just hedges. It's being driven by the same momentum retail crowd that's been driving up stocks as well. So on the downside, there'll also be a positive correlation. So that's the big change that's happened. And that's something we need to be cognizant of, rather than thinking that
Yeah,
gold's
I'm
going to
on
act as a
YouTube.
hedge on the
I'm always
downside.
on YouTube.
Although
I gotta
for
work.
now, it's been a great hedge, Rushir. I mean, anybody who's in stocks and did 10% GLD is quite happy.
No, absolutely. So it's not been a hedge, Carl. It's been a parallel trade, right? So that's the point, that everything is rising in sync. We've never had a period where, in fact, gold has outperformed stocks in a bull market. That's just never happened. So currently, everything is rising. So you're right that everyone's happy, but so are the AI traders, or so are people who are buying crypto. It's been like a everything bull market.
Did you pass your
as we've
Lucid
called it, I
gambit
think,
or
in the
no?
past on the show. But I think that what's happening now
What?
is that
I thought
we're
you were.
seeing this
I thought you passed. Damn.
retail flow as well come through. And don't
Yeah.
I'm still bullish on gold in the very long term. And I
Oh,
believe
go
in
get
a
another
lot of
one on a
properties
YouTube
of
race. You
gold
might
as a
win.
safe haven. But my concern is that on
This
the upside
that's
now,
50.
we're
Yeah.
seeing so much retail flow and so much massive.
He hit
liquidity
DLL, then
find
he went
itself
all
into
in,
gold,
and I thought he
that on the
passed.
downside, people will be
Order
surprised
filled.
that
Order
there's
filled.
a positive correlation
Higher
at least
day
for
on
a
AQ
while.
now.
So I think that's what I was
Order
trying to point out in the
submitted.
piece, that one, the only explanation is the
Order
massive
submitted.
liquidity floating around the system as to why these assets are rising simultaneously when they rarely ever do. And secondly, then on the downside, be prepared that everybody will be unhappy rather than everybody being happy, as is currently the case.
Yeah, my favorite
Yeah,
response
they went all-time
last
high.
week, I asked Secretary Bessent why gold is up so much, and he said, more buyers than sellers.
Just 100
So
points.
how does it end, Rushir?
Yeah, it's doable.
The correlation.
Maybe
the unusual
tomorrow.
Correlation.
Yeah, it's amazing because, a lot of people used to point to gold, if you remember, Sarah, as an
Yeah.
inflationary warning, right?
Man,
That
we've
gold
been
is
just
rising
sitting
so
on
much,
overbought
that
for a long time.
inflation
It's
must
not
be on its
moving
way.
down.
So the way I think that this ends is that traditional inflation finally does show up at some point, possibly next year or so. And then when the Fed is forced to increase interest rates and central banks have to withdraw some of this excess liquidity floating around the system to fight that traditional battle, I think that that's when both stocks and gold go down simultaneously. But until that happens, I guess it's a
Order
party
submitted.
everywhere. And that famous line goes that we know that this party is feeling
Order
extended,
submitted.
but the clock has no hands. So currently, this everything rally seems to carry on, and the party just doesn't seem to end.
Yeah, I guess the question is, how bad is the hangover,
Yeah. But as I said, the key thing is to watch is the fact that when do central banks feel inclined to withdraw all this excess liquidity
Nice.
from the system?
Is that
But
the 150?
As you said, for now, it's like gold and
Nice,
stocks are both
nice.
partying simultaneously like they've never done before.
All right, the best kind of parties. Rushir, thank you very much for joining us. It's good to see you, as always, with your new piece out today, Rushir Sharma.
Still to come this morning, an inside look at the rare earths rally with the CEO of USA Rare Earths surging as investors get bullish on a possible government stake in that name. Plus, Apple just did something it hasn't done since December. We'll get details on
Order
that when Squawk on
submitted.
the Street continues.
Order canceled. Order submitted.
He sure knows these parts well.
Folks say the planes whisper to him.
Outlaws in 500 feet. Rerouting.
Making it up!
Innovation changes everything.
Man, he's good.
With one investment, you can access the NASDAQ 100 innovators who are rethinking the world. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
Welcome to the place where people go to learn about their Medicare options before they're on Medicare.
Come on in. You're turning
Come on,
65
AQ.
soon,
Go down,
yeah?
baby.
And you're retiring at 67?
That's the plan.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Now's the time to plan ahead. Learn about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan from United Healthcare, and how a plan like this helps you take charge of your healthcare with lower out-of-pocket costs. Here's why. Medicare alone doesn't pay for everything.
Order
Your
filled.
deductibles and copays could add up to hundreds, even thousands of
Every
dollars a
300.
year.
Shit. Now it's gonna go all-time high now.
To learn that one.
Adding a
And I'm
Medicare
sure that
supplement
85
plan
and
helps pay some of
97.
what Medicare doesn't. And that could mean fewer surprises and more predictable out-of-pocket costs. Call United Healthcare and ask for your free decision guide. Or talk with a licensed insurance agent or
Order
producer
submitted.
to learn more about plan benefits, options, and rates. Medicare supplement plans let you choose any doctor, any specialist, anywhere in the U.S. who accepts Medicare patients. You don't have to deal with any networks or referrals. This kind of plan
Empty the short
also
on my
goes with
cash
you
now.
anywhere you travel in the country.
I better wait.
If you're turning 65 soon or over 65 and planning to retire, you're in the right place. Medicare supplement plans with the AARP name are the ones endorsed by AARP.
Thumbs up to that.
Remember, the time to prepare is before you go on Medicare.
Don't wait. Get started today.
Take charge of your health care. Call United Healthcare for your free decision guide and learn more about lowering your out-of-pocket Medicare costs and seeing any doctor who accepts Medicare patients.
Oh, and happy birthday or retirement in advance.
The CNBC CEO councils are always on my calendar. I love the diversity of industries and sectors that are represented.
We got together to talk about where our business goals align. There was just every possible win.
Are you looking at Go or something?
It's an opportunity to learn something new and get really honest feedback from peers who are experiencing the same exact thing you are.
That's the magic of not just CNBC and this CEO council. It's how you create change in the world.
Explore CNBC council membership.
That's happened to me earlier. I went in a short and just pumped 20 points in like 5 seconds.
Intraday high, now up more than 30% over the last 6 months of trading, getting a boost today on some strong iPhone 17 sales data. We're watching that, David. We talked about some of the tactical notes. Evercore going to outperform this new targeted loop of 315. That's a ways from here still.
It certainly is, and if the strength continues, obviously, well, the stock itself and iPhone sales being the key part of it. Still vastly underperforming many of the so-called, at least Max 7, or if you want to call it terrific 10 peers that it has in terms of this year up. But up now, and up about 3.7% for the year to date.
As the Dow is at session highs up
Order
400.
filled.
Speaking of the Dow, another Dow name rallying is Boeing, following some positive news for that company out of the FAA.
Order
With that,
submitted.
we'll turn to Phil LeBeau. Morning, Phil.
Hey, Carl, this happened late Friday afternoon and didn't get a whole lot of attention over the weekend, but it certainly is important, especially if you're a Boeing investor. As expected, the FAA has given Boeing approval to increase its 737 MAX monthly production rate from 38 per month up to 42 per month. Now, we expected this to happen in the fourth quarter, so the news is not a huge surprise, but it is significant. It is the highest rate since 2023. And this will help them cut into that backlog, which has now grown to 4,349 737 MAXs that are ordered. How are they doing this? Well, we know that the MAX is produced in Renton, Washington, 2 lines that will be going up to 42 per month. But they're going to also be expanding their production eventually to their facility in Everett, Washington. with the
Go,
MAX
I know, I'm scared.
certified. Look at the increase in deliveries from the 737 MAX that is expected. Now, this comes from Syrian. These are strictly
Nico
estimates
cancel
at
it.
this point. But if they move up to 47,
Oh, it's
which is
stuck on
expected to have sometime in
NQ short.
2026,
I don't want to
then
short
on
go.
to 52, then you see
Order
where
filled.
the
Order
Boeing
filled.
MAX deliveries could take place. By the way, as you take a look at shares of Boeing, remember that the company has said.
Oh, no, this
CEO
short,
Kelly
49. I
O'Rourke
don't want
has
to hit
told me
short.
himself he expects the company to be positive free cash flow in the fourth quarter. We'll be talking with Kelly in a couple of weeks, actually next week, when the company reports its Q3 financials.
Order filled.
We'll see if they still are optimistic about positive free cash flow
Order
in the fourth
filled.
quarter. That would be a
Nice.
huge milestone for a company that has been
Order
burning through a lot of
submitted.
cash over the last year and a half.
That's good. They're fixing it.
Phil, thank you. Phil LeBeau. Earnings season officially ramping up with numbers coming this week from Tesla, 3M, Coca-Cola, IBM, General Motors, and Netflix. We're going to drill down on Netflix with one analyst who's forecasting double-digit gains even after a big rally this year.
Trend Tracker is sponsored by CME Group. CME Group, where risk meets opportunity.
It's a smart move to get a second opinion. You do it when you're looking for a contractor. You definitely do it with medical advice. So why not with your stock market investments? We can help you see opportunities you may be missing. At Henyon & Walsh, it only takes a second to schedule your free second opinion. So what's there to lose? Speak to Henyon & Walsh, the second opinion people.
Why should you trade options rather than stocks? Because they offer higher returns, are cost-effective, and can actually reduce risk. Learn how in our new book.
I got the book and I read it in a weekend, and it's just like, wow.
On a measurable level, I'm being successful. I have a couple stocks, but I don't have many of them anymore. It's all options for me.
I highly recommend everyone gets John and Pete's book because there's nothing else out there like it.
Get a free copy today at itsnotanoption.com. Itsnotanoption.com.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance to Abacus was right for them and their estate plan.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Well, that should average down on NQ.
Artificial intelligence by these 7 companies. We're embarking on the
85, yeah.
And the spend is a necessity.
It's so overbought.
Weeknight 6 Eastern and streaming on CNBC Plus.
I want to pass this 100K. I'm gonna average down.
The new monster menu is now at Burger
Order
King.
submitted.
Really?
Frightfully fun for all families.
I have 65 people in a raffle.
At BK.
What can I get you?
I want a job where I can help people.
I want a job building rockets.
I want to work somewhere creative.
Welcome back to what should be a thrilling second half.
Good shit, dude. Oh, that's a 75K you reset, right?
Netflix is set to report third quarter results.
Nice.
That'll be tomorrow after the bell. Joining us now with his expectations, Guggenheim Securities.
That's
Entertainment
good.
Media
That's a
analyst
good
Michael
return on
Morris. Has a
investment
bond
after
rating on
cashing
Netflix.
out.
His price target is $14.50. Just taking a look at where the stock is.
Now get a Tradeday.
All right,
On
what
my
are we
Funded
expecting,
Futures.
and sort of what are you going to be focused on in terms of the metrics, given they don't tell us
That's good shit, dude.
sub count anymore the way they used to?
Sure, you're exactly right. They don't, and that's been a bit of a sticking point for those of us who like to analyze the stock, but they've pivoted to engagement, which is the
I think it blew down the first day.
platform. And when we think about the core business and evaluate how it's performing, engagement has now become the most important metric, and that's been a bit challenging for them over the last several quarters. It hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been as good as we would have hoped given the strength of the business. That's going to be a primary focus, and we do think that that trend improved in the third quarter. So that's where our expectations are right now.
All right, and why do you believe that trend improved in third quarter, Michael?
Sure, absolutely. We look at a number of data sources, including information disclosed by the company. They highlight their top performing titles, and this quarter they had a very strong slate. It kicked off late in June with the most recent season of Squid Game. They had Happy Gilmore, and then they had a couple of very big hits in the quarter, one with Wednesday, and of course there was K-pop Demon Hunters on the film side, which was a very significant contributor. So the data we look at indicates that
Those are
trends
expensive
strong and
now.
healthy, and I think that getting that comfort with the core business is a great first step to think about where the company can go from here and why we're bullish on it.
I watched Wednesday. What a weird show, but weirdly addicted as well. I'm
Baby
surprised
Bear,
at how
you get
big
your
of a hit
raffle
it is,
ticket on
but
YouTube for
we'll be
Lucid?
looking for any signs of the numbers. I know they
Okay.
give snippets around
Awesome.
what demand looks like. Just curious, Michael, not necessarily related to quarterly earnings, but we've gotten this look at Sora 2 from OpenAI. Is the AI generated content a threat for a Netflix?
Order
for spending
filled.
Order filled.
on
I hope
content?
so.
Order
Absolutely.
canceled.
Is it? I don't know. That's the question, right? So
Now
when
I
we think
need
about earnings, we just
91.
talked about one of the
Order
most important
submitted.
things, which is how's the core business trending. We're looking at engagement and financials. Second, we're looking at the
That's
changes
scary,
in
right?
this discussion about AI
3? Holy
content
cow.
is absolutely huge, and I think there's some pros and some cons. When we think about the potential, and it's an uncertain future for AI content creation and what it means for efficiencies, what it means for competition, we do think that platforms and brands, IP are going to be key to sort of cutting through the clutter. And Netflix is an incredibly strong platform.
Yeah,
They're starting to build.
I'm doing bad
their
today.
IP
Everything I do is wrong.
and we think that's an opportunity. At the same time, one of Netflix's largest competitors is YouTube. It's a lot of short form content. And the question becomes, if there is even more quality short form content created, does that create an incremental competitive threat? So I think this is a question that Netflix has to answer. And when we think about earnings, they are trying to compete with new revenue streams and new engagement opportunities. And that's probably the third leg of the earnings.
And that's it.
stool,
I am
if you will.
shorting NQ on my
One of
cash.
the more interesting
Order
aspects of how
filled.
they're harvesting
I did.
new creation,
YOLO.
new content creators. Michael, Mr. Beast from YouTube.
Just one
this
MNQ. I'll
rewatchables Bill
wait
Simmons
to
stuff
it.
was
I'll add
interesting
more.
in the last couple of weeks.
How many
Is that-
days are left on
you
the
drawing some
contract?
clues or lessons from that strategy?
Absolutely, we are. I think that Netflix is very
I
clear.
got
that
60
while
days.
the
I can back
market
hope for
talks about
60
them
days.
being
Anything happen?
The winner of the streaming wars, which we've never really loved that term, Netflix says that they never rest, and they think it's dangerous to. You'll hear their co-CEOs talk about that. So when you look at some of the things that they've announced, even intra-quarter or within the last 6 months that should take effect going forward, they've done a partnership with live content in the form of TF1 in France. They just announced this Spotify partnership for some exclusive video
Yeah,
podcast.
you got all a lot, so
content.
that's good.
They announced bringing
Good
games,
job.
which they have had on their mobile devices, onto the screen to drive more engagement. And of course, they have started to sort of pick off some of the top performing short form content creators to make Netflix content.
Order
so I
submitted.
think we're just at the beginning of what they do. I'll just tell you, I think that they will make an investment
Need
in
the
the
rug.
NFL. In the next cycle, they already have the 2 games on Christmas Day. I think they'll make a bigger commitment there as well. That's my prediction. And so they are not resting on their laurels at all, and that's something to be excited about if you're an investor.
50. Holy
It'll be
cow.
interesting, of course, to see who steps up for the NFL when that contract comes up a number of years
I
from
mean,
now.
350 I can
Order
see.
Well,
It's not that long.
interesting point. Michael,
It's not
thank you.
that far from here.
Order
pleasure, thank you.
submitted.
Speaking of earnings, also tomorrow morning, Coca-Cola's out, and don't miss our interview with Coca-Cola Chairman and CEO James
Yeah.
Quincy. He'll be here with us at 10
Order
a.m.
filled.
this hour tomorrow to talk through earnings and more broadly what he's seeing from the consumer all over
Yeah,
the world.
follow the bot.
Outperforming
Bot's been
Pepsi.
good.
Oh, yeah. And that's a big point of the Elliott criticism around
Oh,
Pepsi.
Pepsi,
Yeah.
yeah.
They already sort of spun off their
Flag.
bottlers, which has been a very successful decision. And, you know, they're purely drinks. And Pepsi always had the snacks thing, which was working well. And now it's
Order
Instructions
submitted.
to count for
Speaking of
bulenox.
activism, we mentioned Elliott. Tomorrow will be the annual active passive 13D Monitor Summit, as we like to say. Every year I get to sit down with Jeff Smith, of course. Keith Meister will join me, Lauren Taylor-Wolfe. We'll see what ideas they have and where things stand in the land of activism.
Does Jeff have, is he going to release a new name for you?
Unclear whether he's going to have a new name tomorrow. He typically has at this conference,
yeah, I
but it's
did.
not, I'm not
Some
I'm not
average
sure
is
if that is going to be
92
the
now.
case this time.
Order filled.
Meantime,
Get
market's
on my
getting
cash.
healthier here intraday. Dow's now up
Tryna
430.
scalp
VIX was
enough to
below
buy
20,
another eval.
now below 19 as every sector remains green and some 1% gains on IT, on industrials, on communication services, even financials. So we'll watch this breadth and this rally getting a little steam here mid-morning. After the break, the CEO of USA Rare Earths jumping intraday on this analyst upgrade, more than doubling for the year when Money Movers begins in a minute.
What makes a
What's
Medicare
up?
supplement insurance plan, like an AARP Medicare supplement insurance plan from United Healthcare, a good choice for people on Medicare? It's smart for you to have now.
I'm 65.
They got
and
mad.
later on, for the future you,
I'm 70-ish.
it's really smart.
Hey, looking good. You made a great choice for us.
With this type of plan, see any doctor or visit any hospital that accepts Medicare patients. There are no networks. Your healthcare future will have more freedom.
I kept our doctor. And when I needed a specialist, no referrals needed, right? Bingo.
In fact, see any doctor anywhere in the U.S. Really smart to have when you travel.
When I visit this little cutie in Arizona, my plan goes with me. Grandkids! I can't wait.
Don't worry about surprise medical bills either. You'll know up front about how much your care will cost. And knowing your expenses
I got
makes
8 minutes
planning your
into the
financial
race.
future easier.
I'm glad my husband and I can use our savings to do the things we want to do. I'm glad I don't have to shop for a new plan every year.
That's right. Once you enroll, your coverage is guaranteed for as long as you keep this plan. Have questions? Call United Healthcare now to talk with a
It's not
licensed
similar. One
insurance
is,
agent or producer. They
up
know
and
a lot
down, and
about
that
what
one's
makes these
sideways.
plans smart now and really smart later. Or just ask for this free guide, benefits and rates in one place, so it's easy to compare options. Year to year, 94% of members renew their plan. And Medicare supplement plans with the AARP name are the only Medicare supplement plans endorsed by AARP, meeting their high standards of service and quality. So give United Healthcare a call today and set yourself and your future self
Order filled.
an AARP Medicare supplement plan from United Healthcare.
Winnie, look at you. Thanks again for looking out for me.
Order filled.
An AARP Medicare supplement plan from United Healthcare. Smart now, really smart later.
Order submitted.
Jump on that trend. Ride the wave. Stop. That's not how investing works. Wealth isn't won in a bet. Luck is not a strategy, and success demands discipline. You're serious about investing, right?
Some people like doing things the hard way, like doing their finances with a spreadsheet instead of using Quicken. Quicken pulls all your financial info together in one place and updates it automatically. How easy is that?
Earnings season on CNBC takes you inside the numbers. And when the CEOs have a big announcement, they come here first.
A wild hour of earnings.
Earnings season. Special coverage all this month on CNBC.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to Money Movers. I'm Carl Quintanilla with Sarah Eisen here at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Today, rare earth stocks on the move again. The president's meeting with Australia's prime minister this hour, pitching a possibly
Order filled.
to China's critical mineral dominance. We're going to be joined by the CEO of USA Rare Earths.
Plus, Apple shares hitting an all-time high and closing in on a $4 trillion market valuation. We're joined by one analyst adding a tactical outperform call for the stock on stronger iPhone demand and services growth ahead of the
Tesla didn't
earnings
do
print.
anything, damn it. It went back down.
AI against AI. Hollywood power player Michael Ovitz is with us to discuss his next fight against intellectual property theft.
Timely issue there too. In the
At
markets,
$700
we're seeing
run
a
at
nice surge. We're up
75K, I think
1%
it's gonna
to start
blow.
the week on the S&P 500. Almost 1.5%.
Yeah, I should have got out early with negative 500, but I was greedy.
This market doesn't need the government to reopen. To continue its rally, it's pretty broad right now. Every sector's higher except for consumer staples. The small caps are really having a strong day, up almost 2%, 1.8%. And treasuries are rallying too, 10-year below 4%.
Major indices
Later, buddy.
Second positive week in 3. The Dow and the S&P with their best week since August. Joining us with his outlook this morning, HSBC Chief Multi-Asset Strategist Max Kettner. Max, good to see you again. What do you think is driving some of this short-term enthusiasm? I mean, without data, we don't have as many Fed conversations, but certainly earnings are beginning to heat up.
Yeah, I think it's really the earnings side of things, because when we look at earnings expectations from consensus, in fact,
Order
when you
submitted.
look at X technology, so without technology, consensus has been heading into that Q3 reporting season with a pretty similar setup compared to Q2. Remember, in Q2, people were really downgrading their forecasts quite aggressively. Now in Q3, they've done a similar sort of thing where actually X technology consensus expectations are down 2% quarter over quarter. So once again, I think we are faced with a setup that is extremely low in terms of consensus expectations, and that really is also shifting the focus a little bit away, just not only looking at the Magnificent Seven, not only talking about AI and whether it's in a bubble or not, but also looking at the other 493 and actually saying, look, the other 493 aren't actually doing as badly. Look at Q2, right? Q2 consensus earnings expectations for the 493 were about 2.5%, and the realized earnings growth was 8.5%. So massive upside surprise. And I do fear that after last week, where again people have been sort of blindsided, and at least according to our positioning signals, that tiny bit of a bobble that we had last week was enough to bring us already back to an outright buy signal. You know, that's now been sort of prompting people to get a little bit less risk on, less constructive, and they're actually being caught out once again with a very strong earnings season.
So are you a buyer of this argument? The Journal takes a crack at this today, that the leaders of the month so far are areas that you wouldn't be betting on if the economy were slowing. I mean, regional banks, home builders, oil not doing well. In their stead, what is doing well
No
are some defenses
way.
like healthcare and utilities.
I don't believe that, Gambit. There's nobody trade for you. I'm sorry.
Order filled.
That's just BS. Just an excuse because you fucked up. I don't believe. But that reminds me of, oh man, 30K.
The downside that oil experienced with the downside that we've had in
They
regional banks,
can't.
that's probably
No.
two separate things. On the oil side of things, we are still and we remain.
And he doesn't know about it? Come on.
We almost have no oil and no energy in our asset allocation. Really, for months we've had that view because of really that excess supply now kicking in after the end of the US.
Now in a
driving
payout,
season.
that's a buffer, dude. That's a 30K buffer. How the fuck do you blow a 30K buffer?
When you look at regional banks since SVB, since
Gambit's
early
buddy.
2023, actually regional banks have continued to outperform.
No, that's a
and
Gambit's buddy, not mine.
more than 25 percentage points against the large banks. So I'd be much more a buyer of the large banks that
I
have
just
been
own
caught
him.
in the crossfire last week as well. I think that is probably a bit of a safer bet
Dang, I would be
in that
pissed.
sense relative to
30K,
the regional
man.
banks. Elsewhere, so in broad terms, for me, it's not about, we're rotating
Yeah.
away totally from AI
Let me
and
do
from
this
the tech
race real
names
quick.
to something to all the other laggards. It's more about AI and tech.
Yeah, I mean, you can't cash it out. You can cash out, I don't know, I think he has 50K. You can cash out maybe 2,000-3,000, but once you get uncapped, you can cash it out.
Since
So,
you're
yeah.
a multi-asset strategist, I am wondering how you're looking at the rise in gold. It's up another 3% today, more than 3% today with the strong stock market. I think you're recommending gold as well as tech stocks. So how do you sort of justify those two things side by side?
Yeah, look, I think the gold drivers now are probably also somewhat different to
Lucid, and
what
put in a
we
Lucid
see
ad.
let's say in equities. In equities, it has been the relentless rise in AI, in tech, the hopes for continued AI capex, but also the bit of a broadening out in terms of earnings growth really in the 493. Whereas in gold, it's the story about China stockpiling gold. It's the story about continued central bank diversification. I'm not necessarily really a buyer of this debasement trade story because ever since that sort of narrative came along, the dollar's actually gone up and yields have gone down, right? US Treasury yields, so people have actually been
Dang,
buying
that's fast.
bonds. I'm not necessarily a buyer of that. I think it's much more sort of continued central bank diversification, plus also really people realizing, look, if we continue to have asset price inflation on steroids, nominal asset price inflation on steroids across the board, then you do need a nominal asset inflation hedge. And the non-plus ultra, really, the textbook hedge for that is gold.
Max, appreciate it. A bunch of cross currents as we get further into earnings. It's going to start heating up in 24 hours. Max, thanks.
At least we'll get something. Fed blackout period, no economic data. We'll turn our attention now to Washington, where President Trump is set to host the Australian Prime Minister this hour. Access to rare earths expected to be a key issue. Eamon Jabbers in Washington with the latest. Morning, Eamon.
Yeah, good morning, Sarah. We are awaiting the arrival of the Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, here at the White House.
Google's number one.
You see behind me is lined up and ready to welcome him here. The question for Albanese is, what will he be able to obtain from this meeting? Take a look at some of the items on the agenda. We know they'll be discussing critical minerals, and the Australians are in prime position to offer themselves as a reliable ally on critical minerals, even as the Chinese government pulls back access to rare earths and critical minerals. Also trade, a tricky one for the Australians, given that they are caught sort of betwixt and between the United States and China. They are so physically and economically closer to China, and so that is a delicate balance for them. And then the so-called AUKUS nuclear submarine deal between the two countries. The Australians are going to want to shore up U.S. commitment to that agreement to give them access to those submarines. Some questions about whether the United States would be able to fulfill its end of the bargain, given
Uncle Bugatti might win.
of submarines in the U.S. arsenal right now. So all of those items on the agenda here, guys. Then, of course, there's always that trepidation for foreign leaders coming here to meet with President Trump. We've seen some of those meetings sort of go off the rails in the Oval Office this year between foreign leaders and the president. Any foreign leader wants to avoid that. That's been a diplomatic disaster for some countries this year. So they'll want to get through this one with some trade wins, some resources wins, and no major diplomatic flubs. Guys, back over to you.
Is there a trade deal with Australia? Have they started work on this?
Well, we'll see what they can come up with.
Shouldn't be up much. The test is almost red.
Going around the world doing these trade deals.
I don't know, let's back up 1%.
Actually, at this point, I don't know where the Australian
20 seconds.
The Australians, you know, this opportunity that they've got with the rare earths and this access to critical minerals is a golden
How much
opportunity.
is it down?
The Australian press that I was reading just in preparation for this meeting today was suggesting that officials there see this as a great timing for this meeting.
He's gonna win. He's gonna win.
To offer access to those and maybe cut some sort of access deal here
Connection
lost. And that could be a real diplomatic win for them.
Okay, Eamon, keep us posted.
Can you type points? See how many points you have?
Jabbers at the White House. Still to come this hour, Chinese President Xi and the country's top policymakers setting goals for the next 5 years. Their plans for tech dominance in the face of U.S. export restrictions.
Congrats if you have 25 points. I think you do.
Speaking of the trade war between U.S. and China, the CEO of USA Rare Earth is with us today. Shares up more than 80% in a month. William Blair initiates today at Outperform. Stay with us.
Yeah, you got it. Can I get your Twitter so I can give you the code?
At Corient, wealth management
Congrats, bud.
begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are.
I am. Is Bear about to blow his freaking TPT eval?
Did you know that your life insurance policy is an asset that you can sell? Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. I'm the CEO
Yeah,
of
I did
Life.
last. Oh,
And for
yeah, he
almost
did.
20 years, we've been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like
I'll
you.
DM you.
In fact, you can use the free policy value calculator at abacuspays.com. And in just seconds, you can learn what your policy might be worth. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Morning, guys.
Why is Jeff Bridges here?
I'm studying to be in a T-Mobile commercial. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's the most pro iPhone yet.
Order filled.
You can't teach that. Or can you?
I sent you a DM on Twitter.
Versus the other big guys. And see.
At T-Mobile, get iPhone 17 Pro on us. Plus, save up to 20% when you check them out.
Feel more you than ever.
Order submitted. Order
At
filled.
TJ Maxx, you can afford to turn your closet into a place of endless expression.
Dango.
With the quality you deserve, styles you crave, and prices you love.
No.
Max, what makes you, you.
I'm thinking we need a car.
All right, Auto Trader, it's go time. These empty nesters need a new ride. Search. Compare. Buy. Auto intelligence? Let's get it. Technology. Auto Trader, auto intelligence.
It's funny, you can work in a city, but never really see it. This time, I will. With my Wells Fargo Autograph Journey card, I earn rewards wherever I book travel. I'm staying in my favorite hotel again. And going out for a little bite. Okay, maybe I'll catch a match. And then have a chuck.
Dango, you really killed me.
Hello, love. Open. I love this town.
Earn rewards wherever you book travel.
$280
The
left on
Autograph
the
Journey
DD.
credit card from Wells Fargo. Terms apply.
Introducing Verts. Swipe for news and highlights. Now available on the ESPN app.
All the discussion has been rare earth minerals. Let's turn to USA Rare Earth. It's a company that stock is up more than
30 more
80%
points
in a
is
month,
all-time high on
rallying
gold.
off of China's tightened rare earth export controls. And here with us at Post 9 in a first on CNBC interview is USA Rare Earth CEO Barbara Humpton. It's great to see you again. I know you're very new, just taking over this role in just a few weeks ago. I mean, what has it been like after China tightened these export controls?
Well, first of all, thanks for the invitation to be here to both of you. And I will tell you, this is the business issue of our time. I think the world is waking up to the fact that we've had a very fragile supply chain that has developed over the last 30 years. And now it's become geopolitical leverage. So now is the time for the private sector to step up and go anti-fragile.
start strengthening the supply chain outside of China, and that's what USA Rare Earth is here to do.
Can you do that? Because as I understand it, I don't know that much about it, that we have access to rare earth minerals, but it's the processing that they dominate and that we can't
Drop
do.
it in, Q.
Well, I'll tell you about what USA Rare Earth has already put
Order
together.
filled.
Beginning with a rich deposit of heavy
I need
rare
gold to
earths
drop, too.
in Round Top in Texas. Now, moving forward then through the chain, there is a processing team in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, working on advancements and intellectual property that actually will be leading the processing sector. Then ultimately, the team had already put together a magnet manufacturing plant in Stillwater, Oklahoma. That will be commissioned in the coming quarters. So you can see the components. We have what
We can do it
takes.
ourselves.
We had a missing link, though, and it was who will make the metals. So the USA Rare Earth Board had identified less common metals, a UK-based maker of samarium, samarium cobalt, things that we Americans don't necessarily bring up
finally
in
the
our
3
daily
minutes
conversation,
showing a
but
downtrend
it's
now.
absolutely vital to aerospace and defense.
Keep dropping.
Absolutely necessary
Need
then
gold to
ultimately
drop.
for magnet making. So the purchase that we've announced our acquisition, are working our way through the close. It's a twofold move. One is, here is this very rare asset outside of China. They're ready to scale.
Order canceled.
The second is, this is where we'll find the expertise. With the acquisition of the company, we now have Grant Smith and his team of expert metal makers in Cheshire, England, ready to help us build an apprenticeship program that will train metal makers here in the United States.
How much government support would you want or accept?
Well, we think it's important for the government to recognize, as Secretary Bessent said last week, China has been behaving in non-market-driven ways. And so things that the government can do to help create market incentives so that the private sector can step up and do its good work, that's really important. So we're seeing things that like offtake agreements, we're seeing things like support and permitting so that we can move faster. These are the kinds of things the private sector is asking for.
Right, but not a capital infusion or taking an equity stake, things like that?
There may be choices for that. We at USA Rare Earth, we are well capitalized and debt-free at this point, and so we're going to play our role in bringing this whole sector forward.
So, but what would it take to really ramp production, which seems like we need now?
Order submitted.
So imagine a network outside of China where there truly are mines producing the heavy and light rare earths. All of those are on accelerated development right now. Second,
I didn't
there's
touch your
processing, as you
account,
point
so
out.
stupid.
And there are experts. Did you know that France, by the way, is an area with true expertise in processing? What we're going to be doing is building a short-term, a medium-term, and long-term strategy so that we bring all of these assets to scale. And it's a brilliant moment to
Order
be
submitted.
just relinking the supply chain.
But to get to your ideal level of production would be I'm guessing a decade-long process, multi-decade?
We have plans that stretch out across the decade right now. Magnet making will begin. In fact, my CFO loves to talk about this as the magnet-to-mine strategy as opposed to
Order filled.
the magnet strategy. We're going to be building magnets. We're going to be using supplies, feedstock from at home and around the world.
Order
And
filled.
Order